Yo, what up, Grand Rising? How you guys doing? Welcome to Deconstructing Christianity. I am your host, Coach Renz, and we are live once again. Got an air conditioning unit in here, so we good to go. We good to go. Let me get this set up. We're gonna have a conversation today. Hopefully, it'll be a great conversation. I'm going back to my old style of doing this until I have my setup meeting with my guy. So now I got to remember how in the hell did I get I don't know what that is. I got to remember how to get the thing set up so that people can come on to the live on the TikTok. But we are going to, we're back. We're going to get on to a regular schedule here for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at least. We're going to do a regular schedule show like we used to. But we are talking today about whether or not this any of the biblical history is true. Any of it. I say that only about 99% of biblical history is true. The rest of it is just stories that they copy from other people, legacy stories, things of that nature. Damn, I forgot how to do this on my phone. I know how to invite people to come on to the show. We're going to try to make this happen. We're going to make this happen today. Got a few hours to be able to spend with you guys today. Oh, there we go. Got it. Got a few hours to spend. There we go. Got that set up. Okay, now TikTok is all set up on my phone. Going back to setting it up on my phone until I get my next appointment with my tech guy for set this OBS up completely so that we can have everybody on one channel. There is someone. So we got a person over here telling us Joseph was sold into Egypt. There is absolutely no proof whatsoever. What's your proof that Joseph was ever sold into Egypt? Is there any proof whatsoever that Joseph was ever sold into slavery in Egypt? No, there is absolutely no proof of that. Why is this thing doing this? I don't know. Somebody did try to pop up. I don't know who you are, but we're going to throw you on here anyway, just to get the conversation started. Cheeky.
Hey.
How you doing?
Good afternoon. How are you?
Doing pretty well.
Probably one of my favorite topics to discuss on this app.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite as well.
You know, I think, well, outside of the Tanakh being the first 5 books of Torah, I think Torah was written by a very unique, superstitious group of people that were trying to establish some type of a civilization or a cohesive society for themselves based off of the knowledge that they had. But in relation to any of the story in the Tanakh as a whole being true, biblical literalism didn't come about until the 1900s. So, I mean, all of this was just kind of allegorical representations of superstitious people and their experiences.
No, I agree with you 100% that, you know, they didn't understand how the storm works, and so they created their own gods and their own stories. And since these Israelites were people who were leaving the Canaanite society, separating themselves, they borrowed a lot of the storylines from the Canaanite people and their pantheon of gods and the stories of their gods, and previous stories that they had borrowed. The Canaanites had borrowed from the Sumerians, Akkadians, and other Mesopotamian groups. We can look at the history of the documentation that we found from those groups to see that they had very similar stories that were written 1,000 years before there was ever an Israelite. And then people started believing that these things and people believe that these things actually happened back in the day. And still today, some people still think that there was a flood and all these sorts of things. So I agree with you.
Well, what's funny is a while back ago, I found a volume out of the Talmud that was a argument between two rabbis about the Levitical laws regarding the consummation of children. I'm sure you're familiar with the nature of like ritualistic use of bitter waters and infidelity and so on and so forth. So one of the arguments that came up in this volume was they had believed that, now mind you, this was a 4th century writing, not necessarily the Levitical writings, but the argument was that both men and women both possess sperm, and depending on who has the orgasm first is what's going to determine the sexual orientation of the child that they give birth to.
What?
So if the man finishes first, it's going to be a girl, and if the woman finishes first, it's going to be a boy.
What? That's wild.
This was kind of like the influence of the Levitical laws that were written about, stoning virgin girls who didn't bleed their first time. And, the laws revolved around men divorcing their women, but women can't divorce men.
Wow. Now, I do understand, I understand the, parts of the Bible and some of the writings that just subjugate women to, roles of pretty much just cattle where they don't have any rights, which is one of the reasons why I don't understand how women still support this doctrine. But I have never heard depending upon who gets that orgasm first, you get a boy or a girl. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's kind of how they had determined in their worldview. That's probably how, baby boys and baby girls came about. And then the whole infidelity thing with the bitter waters, that if a woman ends up pregnant and is accused of infidelity, she's given, bitter waters by the sons of Aaron, the Levites,
right? Get that
to
magic.
determine whether or not she was faithful or not, which is kind of dark. It's basically like ritualistic abortion.
Exactly. And, even though they run around talking about pro-life, just that example alone shows that the fetus was considered property, not so much as it was considered a human life for them. And really hereditary, who's going to get because only the woman knows that that's her baby. The man has no idea. So it was like a system of controlling women to be able to control who gets to inherit whatever the father had created, financially, land-wise, things of that nature. And it's just some terrible science that they would go to those types of extremes. And I wonder how many women actually had to go through that. They try to say that, it was something that they wrote, but they really didn't practice it. I don't necessarily agree with that whatsoever. If they wrote it, they practiced it, which is insane. But we didn't start getting into understanding viruses and bacteria and that sort of thing till like the late 1800s, I think, or something around there. Well, it might have been a little bit before that when people started washing their hands and all that in the late 1600s. But it just shows that this God, these laws, he doesn't understand how the world works. Which should be enough to demonstrate that people shouldn't be worshiping this God because it's based on the culture and the knowledge of science at their time frame. Oh, I lost him. But that's what it demonstrates to me. We did have another guy. He popped up, but he left. It'd be cool to have him on here since he was saying that all these stories are true. What I saw coming on was, I think, so we're on Facebook and YouTube, TikTok over here. There was a comment that I saw that I thought was absurd. They're saying that you can find elements of the ocean floor at the highest points of every mountain across the world. At some point, the entire earth was a water world, just like the Bible scripture says. Well, see, if you're going to go by the Bible scripture and what it says, then the time frame that every part of the planet was underwater would have to be in or around 2600 BCE, which is when Noah's flood was supposed to have happened. But since we know that there were already mountain ranges around before then, and there are mountain ranges that don't have seashells or fossilized animal plant life on them, that demonstrates that it never happened. So we can find there are mountain ranges that don't have any sea life fossils on top of them, which shows that those mountains were never underwater at the time frame that sea life existed. And that's the big caveat. I'll give you, at some point the entire world was submerged underwater, but that was like billions of years ago. But there are mountain ranges that popped out before any sea life ever evolved, and so therefore, no, it does not prove the flood story at all, or the Bible at all. Let me see. Let's ask that question. Let me, because I don't like to just say there were mountains. Let's go take a gander over here. So if we just do a quick search of mountain ranges that do not have sea life on top of them, we get the Sahara Nevada mountain ranges, the Cascade ranges, the Canadian Shield and accompanying ranges, the Andes mountains in South America. None of those have sea life on them. So according to your thought process, you're wrong. There was never any sea life on top of those mountains. There's no fossilized sea life on top of the Andes mountains. So those mountains were never submerged at any time frame where there was sea life, which would then invalidate your whole proof of that. So yeah, you're wrong. I like when they come up here and think they got something, but they're completely wrong. Cheeky, you left me.
I don't know what happened, but I lost all audio. It was weird.
Oh, okay.
I think another live was bleeding through.
You know, I've noticed TikTok been doing that. I can like go off TikTok and then I'm onto another app, but the TikTok app is still playing in the background.
But yeah, I think other than the concept of, or the idea of the remains of sea life being found at the top of, you know, these mountains, is in certain territories, had ocean water even gotten close to the 2/3 mark of all these mountains,
right,
you now have freezing issues.
Yeah,
like that water would have froze well before it even hit the top, and now you have cascades of water that's not receding. That would have caused a completely different environmental factor for animals, plant life. You know, now you have trapped species of animals that could be found within these areas, or sea life itself would have never fossilized. It would have just been preserved within a thick sheet of ice.
Exactly. Yep.
And being up there for that long, even if something had warmed up and thawed off just a little bit, remaining ice that would have been in those territories would still be holding on to a poor little dolphin somewhere up in the Andes, the Cascades of these mountains. So
no, you're absolutely
the
right.
remains of a hammerhead shark up in the Mount Everest, the glades of the Mount Everest, and I'll believe you.
Yeah, and those remains, like you said, would be encapsulated in ice, so it would still have the meat on it.
Correct.
Like the what was that? There was a woolly mammoth that they found like in Siberia somewhere, and it still had the fur and all that kind of stuff on it because it was frozen instantly and stayed in that ice. So if they were at the top of Mount Everest, those things would be frozen, and there would never be the ability for bacteria and whatever to eat it away would never happen. I
think also the fact that we don't see a significant mixing of the oceans at certain cutoff points. So had there been fresh water mixed with salt water because of an excessive level, being raised, you now have saltwater fish being frozen in time and in territories where, only fresh water should be. We would see evidence of that as well.
And we have none. We have absolutely none whatsoever. And that's why, they take a little scrap of information and try to make that and try to plug that square peg into the round hole of their Bible. And it never works out when you actually go 5 minutes into the information. It never works out. It always comes back wrong. Because, like you just said, you got to have you would have to have that proof demonstrated all around the world at the same geological layer as well. So there's not one geological layer that shows a flood happening everywhere on the planet. Every flood geological layer date radiometrically to a different time frame.
Well, if what Constantine's mother, who is the main source of the claims that are found about the Exodus and the Levants and making their way through the drop-offs into the Reed Sea, there are certain maps biblically that depict these areas being coastal regions, that the only territory that actually separated Israel from Judea was Canaan, and Canaan was butted up right up against the ocean. So had there been, I don't know, let's say a hurricane or a significant rise in water, or one of these like El Nino 50-year waves that came in and washed the place out, have a bunch of malnourished, dehydrated, superstitious desert dwellers that are experiencing their first storm. And because of how destructive it was to their coastal areas, they're thinking that this is a global matter.
Right.
And if that was the case, then the Chinese during the Ming Dynasty would have never have been writing during this period of time, putting out their own stories, and none of which consisted of a flood or any raising of water.
Right. Any flood that they did mention was just a flood of the Yellow River. Like they try to say that, the Chinese documented floods. They documented river floods. They never documented a flood that covered the entire landscape, even for them. And so they never even had a flood that they thought, the whole world was flooded. It's just, the Yellow River floods. And it does it, seasonally. And then every now and then it's a bigger flood than normal. Right. The Egyptians had the same thing with the Nile River. I forgot what they're called, but there's at the Tennessee River at Moccasin Bend in Tennessee, in Chattanooga. They have the same stories, but it's just a flood of their river. It's never a flood of the whole world.
Did you ever get the chance to read any of like the origin stories of like the Bhagavad Gita or the Epic of Gilgamesh?
I've read the Epic of Gilgamesh. I read the Bhagavad Gita like 30 years ago.
Okay. Yeah, these are all just kind of like retellings of other stories that, these cultures of people who didn't have a culture when these stories were being written like I had said before, it kind of started out as like a manuscript of like how we could establish ourselves as a civilized group. And then it kind of evolved into just absurdity in some ways. I mean, some of the, the claims that are made, started to progressively become more and more absurd. But if you read prior stories, such as, i.e., the Epic of Gilgamesh,
right,
I feel as if this territory of people, but more importantly, that period of time, was trying to write their own traditions into history that was not applicable to them. And it's the same thing with the New Testament narrative as well. The way that the New Testament is written does not chronologically align with history of Rome. It doesn't align with any of like the writings of the Edomites or the Moabites. Even some of the writings that came well before the New Testament that came out of like Solomon's temple during the First Temple period. I mean, mathematically, none of it adds up. And it just seems to me like they're doing everything in their power to make themselves relevant in a incoherent timeline.
No, I agree 100%. And one of my favorite examples of that is the fact that when you look at the story of the Assyrian conquest of northern Israel with Hezekiah, Sennacherib, what we found in the tablets and the walls in Nineveh, Sennacherib says that Hezekiah paid him the tribute. And in the Bible, Hezekiah says he paid the tribute. But then Hezekiah goes off and says, oh, an angel killed 180,000 of the troops, of the Assyrian troops. But Sennacherib writes that he pulled those, after the tribute was paid, he pulled those troops and went on and conquered, down there through the Levant and down into the Sinai Peninsula and so on into the northern Nile.
Yeah.
If the Bible,
these men that were slaughtered are out here conquering other nations.
Exactly. And here's the thing, if an angel, or even if it was like a plague, had killed 180,000 of Sennacherib's men, there would be some mass grave in and around Jerusalem where you would be able to, they would have discovered it, because I don't know if you've ever been to Jerusalem, but you can see where the old city was during that time frame, and you see all the development around it. At some point, they would have hit them bones, and it would have been a mass grave that they would have found of 180,000 or 100,000 men, but that has never been found. So it's just a total. So it leads you more to say Sennacherib's accounts are more likely to be the correct accounts than what the Bible is saying. So it totally goes against what we actually know in history. And if that had happened also, 180,000 men had died, I doubt that the Assyrians would have continued to conquer through the Levant and into Egypt. That would not have happened. The Assyrians would have stopped and been like,
I think if they wanted to make this story of like the entirety of the Tanakh more realistic or potentially believable, they should have saved the flood story for the end. Like all this happened and then it all disappeared because of a flood.
Yeah, that would have been a better story. But if they would have done that, how can you write that story when, let's say you wrote it during a time frame that they were under Greek or Roman conquest, or even the Persians? You wouldn't be able to write that, because all those civilizations' communication had increased dramatically from the time frame that the Assyrians, or really the Bronze Age collapse. Everything had progressed where they were able to communicate better. So people would have been able to call them out as liars too easily if they would have tried to tell that story in that time frame. And certainly after the first century CE, you definitely would not have been able to tell their story with Roman roads and with levels of communication they had. So the only time they could have told that story was way back when. It was in and around that 900 to 800 BCE. And because other Mesopotamian cultures also had that story, those types of stories, it was believable because everybody was saying, yeah, long time ago, long time ago. Because even the Epic of Gilgamesh, we have that the story was most likely written around 2000 to 3000 BCE, but it supposedly happened thousands of years prior to the time frame that the Akkadians and Sumerians were writing their story. So it's still a bunch of bullshit at the end of the day.
And, well, you just got to have faith, my brother.
Yeah, I got faith in what I can know. Which doesn't require faith at all at that point.
You know, one of the conversations that I was actually having earlier, that the guy ended up kicking me and then immediately ending the live. We were talking about the different covenants and the relevance of them throughout the Tanakh.
Mm-hmm.
How each covenant, you know, adding up to a total of 7, each covenant was for a different generation of people as time progressed. Well, the final covenant given to Moses to hand down to Joshua before his passing, being Deuteronomy, it talks about how the book of Deuteronomy is essentially like the final law before this quiet period, and Christianity appears as like this mystic, you know, secret cult, if
right.
you will. Deuteronomy essentially establishes itself as the main authority, referring to the law of the prophets, and the entire concept of this, I guess, covenant, that this final covenant that's being established, is an impossible task. You know, it establishes itself through Moses that every Israelite person who's scattered amongst the earth has to come back to Judea to celebrate the 3 major holidays and to obey the new laws that are given. And there will be no peace, there will be no salvation, and there will be no restoration until every single Israelite collectively makes their way back. So this God's telling them, hey, this concept of salvation is not individualistic.
Right.
If you guys shit the bed, you guys all go into slavery together. But if you do good, you'll be blessed and prospered together. This whole, well, John next door is not doing right, but I'm on my knees over here praying. No. You got to go over there and make John whole too. You got to get John right as well. And I think that's why a lot of these laws were so archaic and violent and kind of irrational, is because they collectively believed in suffering servitude, being the suffering servants. So I had asked him, I was like, you know, as a Muslim who converted from Christianity, why would you want to be grafted in as an outsider into a belief system that is designed to be an impossible task for the people that this was meant for? Oh, we're not Jews, we're not Israelites. I know that. The covenant that was given to them is an impossible task.
Yeah.
Why would you want to be grafted into that? That makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And I can see how the writers at the time frame thought that, oh, it's possible because we're all kind of grouped here together. But that would mean that this guy who put this law down had no concept of the fact of there will be exploration, there will be colonization, that there's a whole nother side of the planet where people are going to dwell, which would make that whole thing impossible for you to come back and participate in these rituals, and then to get everybody's hearts and mind in the same spot. That in itself brings about an impossibility, like you were saying. So I agree with you 100%, man. It's crazy work, and the fact that people want to be grafted into this, to me, shows that they have some level of insecurity and low self-esteem, that they would want to be a part of this only because it's popular. That's the only reason. If it wasn't as popular, this religion would die. But let me let this other guy get on real quick.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you, man. Thank you for coming up.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Let's see if I can remember how to do this. There we go. All right. We're gonna make time.
Make time. Can you hear me how I sound?
Got you. Sound fine.
All right. Well, I just realized that after I called in that you got topics on the board. What I want to ask you doesn't have anything to do with them topics. No, and number one, I've talked to you before, and you matter of fact, you may remember I was asking you about my mother and the Jews. I mean, them Christian Jews calling themselves rabbis.
That must have been a
You
while
know,
ago. Right now it's not clicking, but
yeah,
it
it's
might
been a
click.
minute.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. It's been a minute, Coach. You be dropping out my algorithm, and then I don't. If I don't see it, and I don't remember to find you.
Right. No,
But I
I
found you
know.
today.
Appreciate you. I'm glad you did.
I found you today. Dude, can I ask you my question, or would you
Sure.
rather?
No, go ahead.
Okay, my question is, I'm starting to think of religion as like human domestication. It's like if you look at it, it arose around the same time we was domesticating all the animals, the dogs and sheep and whatnot. Christianity and all that stuff come from sheep herders. You know what I'm saying? I regard like especially the Abrahamic religions. I think that's a form of animal husbandry. Because I mean, they preach against the first sin was knowledge. Then they preach against you having your own understanding. And to me, if you take knowledge and understanding from a man, see, that's our natural advantage. If you take that from a man, we like a lion without teeth. And I just want to know your thoughts on that.
Well, I agree with you that religion is something that has developed into something to control people with, to pacify people. I'm gonna say it started before man became agrarian, because even when as hunter-gatherers and moving with the animals, migratory people, there were still beliefs. They still had beliefs in stars and the heavenly bodies that they looked at and say that, oh, that must be a god, and the mountain must have a god in it, and so on and so forth. But definitely once man started settling into one location, we can see that with Tehran Tepe and Göbekli Tepe, especially with Göbekli Tepe, which seems to be like right now, they still got a lot of stuff to do there. But it would seem right now in one of the last reports that I saw that it was a stable civilization. Hunters did still go out and hunt, but they came back to that spot. And the fact that the stone pillars depict these constellations kind of shows it to be some type of worship center was going on with them, which most likely, so you had religion being started, but then as people start grouping together, the religion starts taking over, and they become the people become subservient to it because it becomes a way to control the people. And we still see that going on today with how religion is definitely more control of people than anything else. Sometimes politics supersede it, but most of the time, religion is the dominant force. So I agree with you.
Okay, well, what I would say is it's more nuanced than just domination and control, because I see it as like organically happening. Like what you said, they started with beliefs, but religion was invented when they figured out the same shit they was doing to them dogs and sheep, they could do it to other people. And then that's when the religion was invented. You could like I can even much envision like way back in prehistoric times somebody kidnapping kids from another tribe, and raising them up to do all the work for them, and telling them that we are gods and we angels and all this other stuff. You should worship us, and we get 10% of your income and all this. I could just see so many ways that how it can happen from the belief started, and then once they realize that you can train a person like you train a dog, then you got your religion now. Because think about it, if you kick a puppy, like you buy you a puppy and you know it knows you as master. You kick it, it'll always come back to you. But let you kick a wolf. You kick a wolf, if you survive, you will never see that wolf ever again.
No, I understand.
Domesticated.
I understand the nuance that you're talking about, and that's what I'm saying. That it does, to use your words, domesticate people into just being sheep. And as long as you don't slaughter too many of them too quickly, and as long as you feed them some what they think is the best grass, they're gonna stay there, and they will do whatever you want them to do. And people in power, like that first chief who becomes the first king, those people, they understood that, and they utilized that to maintain what they thought was just maintaining order amongst the people and pleasing some god, or even elevating themselves up to be the sons of the gods, and then being gods themselves, so that the people will worship them and fear them at all times, and they'll be able to maintain that power.
Yes, sir. And then if you think about the cost benefit of it, it's cheap. You train the people to domesticate and enslave themselves, and the emperor can have his hegemony.
Oh, definitely.
Well, hegemony. Yeah, I said it wrong.
I know what you meant. But yeah, definitely. Because now I can pass this power down to my kids, because man has always tried to maintain control of inheritances, just like me and the other gentleman was talking about as far as with women. But when it comes to religion as a societal control, they have wanted to pass that down to their sons most of the time, daughter if they have to. But yeah, they want to maintain that power and keep their families in power for as long as they possibly can. And religion is a great way to produce that.
Yes, sir. And I guess that is the original people when they talk about old money. That's the real old money right there. And then you think about the people that's writing them Bibles and stuff, that's making all that money too. They children don't have to work, because we poor people keep them up.
And it goes, like I saw this when I was growing up. Now I was born in 1971 in Marietta, Georgia. So Atlanta is all Dr. King, right?
Yes, sir.
And simply because what he did, now first it came from his father, Senior, as being the head of the church, and then he gets to step right in. He just passed that power right down to him. But in my upbringing, I'm watching his kids, they ain't done shit, but they automatically got this power, this celebrityism, this celebrity stuff going on. They automatically get these opportunities, and people take care of them simply because they're carrying on the name. They're standing on the name of what somebody has set up before, and people just automatically assume that they must be great people without knowing anything about them jokers. And that always bothered me as a kid growing up. Like, why are we so excited about his kids? They ain't done shit, right? But that's how sir. But because they are involved in a religion that their father and grandfather stood proud on and continued the sheep herding, they all of a sudden just got sheep without having to do a damn thing.
Yes, sir. That's why I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying that was it. That was just at a small micro level, not even looking at that from a larger macro, where we see how governments and people in higher positions do it.
Yes, sir. Well, I guess this would be on the macro, but that's one of the initial teaching others believe. I mean, all these religions, they teach you this bloodline shit. Like sex don't have nothing to do with it. Sex is supposed to be for us to mix our genetics up to make our children be able to survive in the future, because the future may change. So we need different things going on in the future. We can't be the same type of people ever. What if the sun start getting cooler or something, or the temperature changes, or new animals start doing different things? We need different type of people to meet those different challenges in the future. That's why we have sex. But at least that's my understanding of it.
Well, that ain't the only reason why we have sex now, but
yeah, it feels good too, though.
Feels good. But you can't. But now, no matter what they do, you can't stop that. So every generation, there are minor mutations that occur within every generation. It doesn't spread through the whole generation, but there are minor mutations that happen because of the changing of the environment and things of that nature. Unless something catastrophic. Right. So we're always going to be developing as the earth develops.
Yes, sir.
Now, if something major happens, right, you can have a major event happens, and only the people with this small minor mutation survive it, then that becomes the norm. And that's what some of the theories go.
Well, that too, but just on the minor mutation level, the ones with the minor mutation that allows them to succeed the most in whatever we got going on at that time, those be the ones that got to have the most success, can get to make the most children, and they can pass it along. So that amount of mutation become more the standard as they become more successful with whatever the environment they are in is, causing them to be that way. I mean,
well, I wouldn't necessarily put that in the same category as like financial or power success. That would that's more in the line of survival, being able to survive.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Because
power and money. Power and money. That's more of something that's taught. That you got to teach that to the next generation, and if you don't, then it gets lost. Which is why you see somebody like the Carnegies, the Mellons. By the time they got to the 4th generation, more than half of what the original person created was gone because they didn't teach them how to maintain it.
Mm-hmm.
And then once they don't teach them how to maintain it, they lose their power.
But see, that brings us back to yes, sir. But that brings us back to the domestication part, because without the domestication and the indoctrination, we wouldn't uphold these artificial systems that allow the people that can't survive in this world to dominate us. You see, well, at least that's how I feel. I'm not saying they can't survive, but I'm just saying that they know they're not the strongest and the fastest or smartest and stuff like that. But they got the people, they got the stuff that the people believe in, money and religion.
Yeah. That's just how civilization is going to go. And it could be any religion. You look around the world and there's always been transference of one religion to another religion, or one one economic power to another economic power. We are far from whoever is the best hunter. But even in that situation, you got the best hunter is going to be the one in charge. The best fighter is going to be the one in charge. The best picker is going to be the one in charge, And then we start wars over, once we start becoming agrarian, we fight wars over the best land. So now you need the best fighters.
And I'm not really advocating for anarchy or living in the bush or anything. I like living in civilization and having a society. I just like speaking to the nature of the beast, knowing what we're dealing with, knowing what we're living in. We're being domesticated. I mean, you can even think like normal schooling and just learning math and stuff. That's like, can be like a thought of like a form of domestication, or am I going too far?
No, it is. The American school system was developed in order to bring people into the factories that the industrialists were developing. So they needed people to have a certain level of education so that they can make sure they keep making money. I mean,
so therefore I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so therefore, we should know what we indoctrinating and domesticating ourselves into, and make sure that we, like do it with agreement, and we mold our societies and our culture so that we can live peacefully together and stuff. At least that's my thoughts.
Yeah, that's nice. Ain't gonna happen, but that's nice.
One could dream. One could dream. I want that Star Trek future, Coach. I like Star Trek. It has the best vision for the future I've ever seen from the Bible to the Matrix. I've never seen another vision of the future better than Orville. Orville with what's his name? The dude make Family Guy. Orville and Star Trek. They got the best vision of the future I've ever seen.
I haven't watched Orville yet. I do plan on it. I don't think I have the streaming service to work. Actually, now I do. I just thought about it. There is a way that I can watch Orville. But
check it out.
Star Trek is probably one of the better situations. They still got somewhat of a caste system within Star Trek.
Yeah, they still had their problems, but the Star Trek give me the feeling that mankind got his shit together now. They still had money. They still had greedy people stealing, and all that shit was going on. But for the most part, generally speaking, mankind got his shit together, and we work together to overcome the problems of the time. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is, from the Borg to starvation, whatever, we all work together to solve these problems, and we live relatively comfortable together.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I'm not asking for perfect.
Star Trek life is better than human life today. And one of the notable things about Star Trek life is that they don't have religion. Like
exactly.
I mean, certain planets still do have religion, but as far as the humans are concerned, they really don't have religion. You know,
Yeah,
which allows them to be able to create the Federation.
Exactly. Well, they still had religion. Like certain people humans had religion too, but you know that was like certain people, and it wasn't as big and as popular as it is now.
You ever notice that?
You
ever notice on Star Trek though, anytime they show a religion that humans have, 9 times out of 10, it's a Native American style religion. Think about it.
Now that you mention it,
90% of the time, especially on Voyager, it's a Native American style religion.
Oh, don't get me started on Voyager.
Yeah,
Voyager made me mad because that was the first Star Trek where the woman was the captain of the ship, and the first thing she did was get lost. So I never watched it. I never watched Voyager.
She didn't get lost. They made a calculated decision.
Well, I was young back then. I was probably like 15, 18, somewhere in that range when it came out. I was like, well, damn, I wanted, and that's part of the reason why I never liked the Bible was the way it treated the women. I can remember from a child. I love my mama, I love my sister, and I hate the way like Abraham pimping his wife out and stuff, or the way they talk to them. They don't even much mention most of the women's names. Like, who is Pharaoh's wife? What's Pharaoh's wife's name? What's Job's wife's name? What's Lot's wife's name? It don't, and then like what happened with Star Trek. So I kind of be cognizant of that, but I'm not the best person to prosecute the woman's case because I have my things that I've done in the past that I regret, and other things. But I try to be, you know, sensitive to the woman's cause and help where I can. But in the end, I can't get more madder than them about the way stuff is going.
No, I'm with you. I mean, we can only advocate for them so much because we're not them. But the fact of the matter is, you should go give Star Trek Voyager another try with grown man eyes. It's actually more uplifting towards women than it is. It's balanced. I'm gonna say it's a more balanced show when it comes to the power dynamics between men and women in that show, which is one of the things I think they were going for.
Yeah, Star Trek always been progressive and a force for good as far as balancing out the way, you know, society and its its issues with society's issues and stuff. I'll give it a try, Coach.
Yeah, give it a try. Give it a try. But let's get back to the subject, though. I do want to get back to the subject, but I don't want to go because I can talk about Star Trek for a couple of hours now.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, I don't want to get you off your thing. Do you want to talk about any of the topics you have on the board?
Sure. There's nobody else waiting right now. So there's nobody else waiting right now. So you good?
Well, let's start out with creation then. What prosecute your well? Are you saying that you think that none of the stuff in the Torah actually happened? Is that what your standpoint is? Or very, very few parts of it actually happened?
Yes, well, like 99% of it never happened.
What's the biggest thing you got about creation, the creation story, makes you think it never happened?
Well, the creation story would have had to have happened around 4004 if you're using one way of measuring it, 4,600 if you use another way of measuring. But in either format, you're looking at the world being created, the universe being created in 4,000 BCE, which we know scientifically is incorrect. We know that with background radiation alone demonstrates that the universe, our known universe, is billions of years old, like around 13 billion years old. We know that the Earth is around 4 billion years old. We know that there were early humans as far back as 200,000 years ago. You know, so none of the Genesis story can be correct when the Earth and the universe demonstrate that it is incredibly much older, and also that there were already civilizations around during that 4,000 BCE area. area of time. So it just doesn't work.
Yeah, I agree. To me, it's just a story of nonsense with talking snakes and stuff in it. Another reason why, and then it got the first sin is knowledge, man. They don't want you to know nothing. That's why these especially these Christians, they talk so stupid. I don't know because I don't know who happened, what happened, and I wasn't there to see it. I'm gonna believe in my imagination.
Yeah, and it's dumb because when you look at the Bible, it tells them that in all thy getting, get knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. So how can that have been the first sin, but then it's telling you later on that you need to get knowledge? So, and then how can you expect somebody who doesn't know the difference between good and evil to make the decision, to make any decision whatsoever? I mean, really, you're saying Adam and Eve should have been terrified to make any decision because what decision is good, what decision is bad? They don't know. So disobeying this God, how would they know that disobeying this God is wrong? Just because the God said it? Well, you got another celestial being here, a talking snake, that's saying that telling you something different. That's playing mom and pop. You ever do the mom and pop thing when you was coming up?
No, sir. You maybe you explain it to me. I might have, but we can probably call it something else.
Well, it works two different ways. One way, you go, we ask your mama something. She say,
"Oh
no.
yeah."
You go ask your daddy, and he say, "Yeah." Or like, you want to go hang out with some people. Your mama's like, "Yeah, you can go," and your dad's like, "Hell no, you can't go." But mama said I can go. So you kind of playing them against each other.
Yeah.
Or who to ask.
Before.
I know if I want to go hang out with this person, I'm gonna ask my daddy. I ain't gonna ask my mom about that one.
Yeah, I used to do that. I never had a name for it though. I just did it.
So you got God saying don't eat from this tree. And then you got the serpent saying, hey, I know he said it, but he just said it. This is the reason why he said it. And it actually, you're not gonna die. Which was the truth. They didn't die.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, how would someone who don't know what lying is know if someone is lying?
Exactly. But not just that though, Coach. That's why I regard Eve, back to the women, why I regard Eve as if she was a real person, she is one of the great thinkers. She should be in line with Newton and Einstein, because what she did was get us the knowledge of good and evil. She got us knowledge of good and evil. And Christians, especially the Jews don't seem to believe in the religion like the Christians and the Muslims do, but they regard that right there as a bad thing. We shouldn't know nothing. I guess that's what they think, because they talk about Eve like she's a dog, and that's a bad thing. So now these people they come to these lives, they come and advocate their case for God, and they don't even know that they lying. They don't know that if you state your opinion as fact, you are lying. Your opinion is not fact, and for you to sit there and say, well, I think it should be like this, and talk, try to talk like you got authority and like this is some kind of known fact. This is a lie, man. You are a liar. And so why would God send people who don't know don't know the difference between good and evil to come and advocate for it? People are sitting up here lying, looking stupid, talking about their opinions and their feelings.
No, it wouldn't. And you're right. It's just their opinions and their feelings based on believing some old ass story that's completely outdated and unscientific. And the whole the story is being written to make Eve the bad person in the story just so that they can assert their dominance over women. Right? And that's it. They just want to assert their dominance over women. So we're gonna make Eve the bad person. Then we're gonna double down on that with Paul, saying that, and then first we're going to double down with a whole bunch of rules that are against women. Then we're going to triple up on it when we get into this New Testament with Paul, who said that, Eve was the first to transgress, so that's why she needs to be under a man, right? It's controlling women so you can control who they have sex with, so you can control where your money goes.
And what hurt is trying to tell us to a woman who actually believe this shit. It's like you trying to help her do better and be better and avoid being manipulated, but she wants to be manipulated. It hurts and it's hard. It makes it, I mean,
Well,
I remember one time sir.
They've been indoctrinated into the belief of heaven and hell, so they'll forego everything. Both men and women will forego everything so that they can get into
Yeah. But I love women. I give a damn about them. Yeah, it just, that's why, I mean, I'm sitting there trying to help the woman I love. I got up one time, I got up in the morning and washed dishes, and she told me men not supposed to be doing that. We got in an argument over that type of stuff. And this is what hurts. I can care less if a man get manipulated. Should be strong, stop being weak.
I'm with you, but I'm not with you on that one. Because if my wife touched that trash can,
what I do wrong, Coach?
If my wife touched that trash can, we're gonna have some problems. Your hands don't touch the trash can. You don't pull the bag out, you don't put the new bag in, you don't take the trash out. Don't touch that. I got mad at her the other day because I ain't get mad at her, but I had to fuss at her a little bit because her and my daughter called themselves taking the big case of water, carrying that. And I told them I carry it. It didn't matter that I was having back pains. I carry that water no matter what. No pain.
I guess when you love somebody, when you love somebody, you want to help carry the load. You know, put it all on. I was off work. I didn't mind. She was sick and tired.
No, I know what you're talking
Somebody
about.
out wash the dishes.
I understand. You know,
yes.
We don't wash dishes. I put that dishwasher on the other day, so I understand what you're saying. I got you.
Our dishwasher never clean the dishes anyways, and it just run the electric bill up. You get dirty dishes and a high electric bill, so turn that motherfucker.
You need a new dishwasher, then.
Yes, sir. Need a whole lot of new stuff around here.
Let me let this other dude get somebody else want to come up now. So.
All right, fine. I had great talking with you, Coach.
Appreciate you, man. All right, let's see. Hopefully it wasn't like an accident. Manny Mims. Manny.
Yeah, what's happening, man? I hope you have a good day. Happy Father's Day to you.
Appreciate it. Having a great day. Happy Father's Day to you as well.
I just joined on here because I say I get mad too with my wife want to try to do something. But baby, you know it ain't for you. You know that ain't for you.
I know. I'm with you. There are certain traditional roles that I still hold on to. Not all of them, but I hold on to some of them.
Yeah, like I'll say
he must have got a phone call or something.
Nah.
Go ahead. I can now. What is that in the background though?
It's something else. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's something else in the background.
Yeah, that's you.
Oh no, what the hell did it do? What the hell did it do?
Somebody, were you listening to another podcast? Because what might be going on, I know TikTok, you could be listening to a podcast, go to another one, but it'll still play the old one.
Well, I'll drop myself down. I keep dropping down, and then let me pop right back up. I got something important to say.
Okay.
All
right. Yeah, he listened to a preacher. Before I bring the other person up, I'm gonna let him come back up. So if you can hold on before the world was. Let's see. Gotcha. There you go.
You hear that other stuff now in
Nope.
the background?
Nope. You good to go.
All right.
So what you got for us?
I'm here for you. I love my people, man. That's what I'm here for. And then what I wanted to say was we all got different roles, for real.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be I'd be a weak ass man if I wake up one morning and my wife out there cutting the grass or something like that. No,
I understand.
I don't.
No, I understand because I mean I got a hard-headed wife. She likes doing projects and stuff.
Yeah, they be hurting each other. They be hurting them. They be hurting themselves. I'm like, baby, no, you ain't gotta do this.
I would join you in that one only because my wife clumsy. So I'm like, I know you like doing projects, but I'm gonna need you to sit down for me.
Yeah, sit down, like do your project like with some glue or something like that.
Now she be want to build structures.
Don't do all the outside shit. Like, that's what you got me for.
She want to build structures and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, lady, I don't trust you with a nail gun. Gonna be a nail through your hand. You keep messing around.
She might shoot herself.
Now I'm not saying all women are that way. My wife she accident prone sometimes. But I get what you're saying though. There are certain things.
You know, my wife say that same shit. I'm accident prone. Okay, then chill out, man.
Yeah, there are certain things because I don't like cutting grass. So either I'm gonna pay somebody to do it, or I'm gonna put some false grass down or put some rocks down and have no grass. But if I had to have some grass, I get out there and cut it.
Because the only reason why I like cutting grass because I had to do this shit for my own mama all my life. Where you? And I kind of enjoyed it. I knew it was a little chore or whatever.
I'm with you.
I kind of enjoyed it.
Yeah, some people like that stuff. But being from Atlanta where it get hot and swamp ass, I don't like being out there. It's too hot. Bugs and shit all over the place. Then you get itchy. No.
Bro, I'm from Mississippi, bro.
Oh, hell no.
He said hell no.
It's too damn hot.
He said hell no.
Nah, that's too hot for me.
Just drive a raid, man.
All that damn humidity and stuff. Nah, I can't do it.
It gets sweaty, stinky, funky, whatever.
Yeah, I stopped doing lives because I moved everything to my garage. It was too damn hot in here, so I was like, okay, I gotta find me an air conditioning unit I can put in my garage. I don't do hot.
I stay in Iowa now. I've been married for my last 9 years of my life.
The hell? Ain't no black people in Iowa.
My wife from Iowa. She black. Yeah, she's from Iowa.
You sure?
I met her when she was doing her little thing in Mississippi. She got some family in Mississippi and everything.
Okay.
And I met her. And then it died.
I got you. But man, let me get to the subject, man.
Yeah, what's the subject, man?
What you got? It's right there on the screen.
Yeah, I read it.
Did the Torah actually happen? Basically, the premise is that 99% of the history of the Bible is false. Right?
Yeah, I think that's that.
So it's like people are believing in something that we can look at history and say that, well, that never happened. So if Joseph never was sold into slavery in Egypt, and then the Jewish people came to Egypt, and then they became slaves after 200 some odd years.
Is that the story? Is that the story where I'm talking about? What Joseph and the coat of many colors?
Yeah,
that part.
Yeah, that's the beginning part of that story, and then you go all the way through the Moses part and the Exodus and all that. But none of those things ever happened. Like there's no history to support it, and actual history goes against it. Like they never conquested the Levant, because during that time frame that Joshua would have been conquesting the Levant, it was being ruled by Egypt.
You believe in God?
No.
Well, a certain type of God.
Nope.
You don't believe in nothing?
No, I have to know stuff. I don't do belief at all. I might have hope for things, but I don't do belief.
You believe in oxygen?
Yeah, I know oxygen exists.
How?
Well, we can measure it, and we can measure it. We can test it.
You can't measure oxygen.
Yes, you can. Yeah.
Oh, I ain't know that.
You've never, okay, so perfect example. When
I say air. You can measure air.
Yeah, you can measure the contents of the air. So like if you ever go scuba diving, they know how much oxygen, nitrogen to put in there.
Who told us that? Who told us that?
No, you can measure it, dude. I saw the measurement of oxygen that was being applied when my child was my first 2 children were preemies. And so
I got 2 preemies too.
If you look at the equipment, it's measuring how much oxygen is inside the little incubator. I don't know how they do it today. My children are 30. My oldest is 30. So, but the machine that was the incubator in Germany, you can see how much oxygen in there.
Do you believe in miracles?
No. Miracles to me are just causations that we can't explain. Like you don't know why something happens, but it happens. But most like God, can be. Right? No.
Just like God, right?
No. So a person is in an accident, car gets all crumbled up, and the person walks away unharmed, right? Yeah. People say that's a miracle. Like that. People say that's a miracle. But if you actually if you can measure the speed, the points of impact, the density of the metal and whatever they hit,
90% of the people that what I went through or what I did or whatever, 90% of the people agree if they didn't make it out, it was some type of something that happened.
No, it was just physics. Physics happened.
Yeah, physically, I would have been not talking to you.
No, not physically. Physics happened. Depending upon the angle of the impact and
what's the base word of physics?
Physics? I don't know what the root word of physics is.
I understand what you're saying too, dude. I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
They got different things. Where we coming in it. It's just different things. That's it.
Well, no, because see, you're putting
I like that cowboy hat too.
Appreciate it. I like yours, but you're putting a consciousness.
Man, my wife bought she bought me some snake skin, python, snake skin boots. Man, it turned my whole day up, man.
I'm with you, but quit changing the subject.
You ain't got to show nothing. What you say?
Quit changing the subject.
Well, go ahead.
The difference between what we're talking about is you're adding a consciousness to physical properties that occurred during the time frame that someone is in a car wreck. There's no consciousness involved when someone is in a physical car wreck. Right. It's just physics, right? So 2 people can have an accident, but neither of those accidents are going to be exactly the same because all the variables that are involved in the accident are going to be different.
Right.
Even 2 people driving the same car or in the same car, you still got different variables between the driver and the passenger. So there's no consciousness involved. It's just physics that are involved.
That's right.
So I don't need a God. There is no miracle for that. And if I can't explain the physics, it just means that I don't understand those physics.
Well, some shit you shouldn't understand.
Why? Why not?
Because, man, understand that the wisest people be the most foolish. They forget about the common sense that they were born with, and they go on the foolishness or on the what they learn or whatever, and they forget about what's actually happening in their real life.
Give me an example, because I don't understand what you mean by that. I must not understand because I'm thinking totally opposite of that.
Yes, you do.
No, I honestly don't. What do you mean by? Because a wise person knows that there's more things that they don't know than things that they do know. Now, egotistical person, a narcissistic person, they will think that they know all things and therefore nothing else matters, and they can do whatever they want and be however they want. So that's why I was asking for
all this shit matter. Everything matter. It does matter. It's called matter.
I wasn't using matter in the term frame in the term of physical matter. I was talking about purpose, reason. Things matter. Like, and a wise person knows that they don't know everything. And you said a wise person is a fool.
Did you find that out? Did you find that out? Did you find your purpose and your reason? Yeah. Did you find it?
I've always had it, and it changes.
What's your purpose
right now?
Our purpose don't change.
Oh, yes, it does. If your purpose don't change, then you're indoctrinated into, that's an indoctrination. Like, my purpose in life.
Indoctrinated into what?
My purpose right now is taking care of my wife, taking care of my daughter, who is living with us right now. And
that ain't your purpose. That's your responsibility.
No, that's my purpose, because I decided that that's my purpose. My purpose is also taking care of my health, to the extent that I want to do it. Man,
you ever heard this saying? If you tell God your plan, He will laugh at you.
I've heard it. I don't believe it. It don't make any damn sense to me. It's dumb, because you decide what your purpose is with every decision that you make. And then if you decide that there is a certain aspiration that you want to have in your life, then you are the one deciding. If you decide that you want to help people in a certain way, like 2 of my children, they want to, for some reason, they love homeless people. And so they want to help the homeless people. For them, they decided that. And all of that decision came about because when I was living downtown and we used to walk the city a lot, they saw homeless people and their heart went out to them.
Where you from, bro?
Atlanta.
I'm from Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
And my first, when I moved to the Midwest, I helped a lot of homeless people.
Okay. What does that got to do with what I was saying?
I was just inclined to do right by people. But
my point is, a person decides what their purpose is in life. There's no God that decides your purpose.
No, they don't, bro. No, they don't. No, they don't. They gotta find their purpose.
You know what? When I'm coaching people and somebody tells me that I gotta find my purpose, I always tell them you're never gonna find it. You're never gonna find it, because that's why a whole bunch of purposes go into the grave, because you're always looking for something that's outside yourself instead of looking inside yourself and deciding what life means to you.
What if I told you I already found what I was looking for?
All right, what is
in the physical shit?
What's your purpose?
My purpose to love. That's the main purpose. My purpose is to love, bro.
Love who?
That's
what?
My main purpose.
Love what?
I got my kids out of my wife. I love their ass to death. To death. And people don't understand what that means.
So after death, you gonna stop loving them?
I love my people to death.
So after death, you gonna stop loving them?
No.
Okay. Well, you said you love them till death.
I really don't know. Because I ain't never been there.
You see, you are quoting a colloquialism to say that I'm gonna love them to death, which is just, if you took that in the literal, that just means I'm gonna love them until they die. But I understand what you mean by it, but you're just repeating something that's been indoctrinated into you.
Love had never been indoctrinated into me.
Yeah.
Never been indoctrinated.
The mere fact that you use that statement demonstrates that it was indoctrinated into you. But
fuck the statement, man.
I'm just going by what you're saying.
What I'm saying?
I'm listening. I'm definitely listening. But I don't think you're listening. And I don't think you're thinking about what you're saying. Your purpose is to love. And so your purpose is only to love your family and your people.
Yep.
So no love for anybody else, just your people and your family.
No, dude.
Then what is your purpose? Who are you to love? You say your purpose is to love. What is the extent of it? What's the extent of it?
But I got a warrior side too.
What's the extent of the love?
I ain't just loving every goddamn body.
Well, you ain't answering my question. Then I'm asking. That's what I'm asking. What's the extent of your love?
Well, till you do wrong by we. You remember that Color Purple, Color Purple movie? Until you do wrong by me. That's it. If you cross that line, you gotta say that's on y'all. I already know my purpose, but I ain't no stupid ass dude either, or stupid ass man.
So there's a person in.
I ain't finna love nobody that don't love me. What the fuck? I keep giving love to somebody that don't love me.
Okay, so
to anybody that don't love me.
So you don't love the woman in Thailand right now?
I love my woman in my land.
Right. So over in Thailand, there's a woman walking around. She's living her life. You don't love her.
Well, that's on her. That's on her.
Right. So you don't love her.
Yes, I do.
But she's not giving you love.
It don't matter.
So you love everybody then?
I just said that.
No, you didn't. You said you love people who show you love back.
Yeah.
That person's not showing you love back.
That person in Thailand, and she don't show none of us no love. I don't love her either. It is what it is. If you don't like me, I don't like you. If you don't fuck with me,
she don't know you.
That is what it is.
She don't know you.
I already gave my grace shit over with. I already did my grace shit. I didn't help multiple races, multiple people.
But she don't know you. How can she love you if she don't know you?
I'm 10% of my grace. I'm just 10% of it.
Okay.
I already did that.
Oh.
I didn't show love my whole damn life.
Are you smoking some weed or something right now?
No, I'm talking to you. I ain't smoking no goddamn weed.
I don't think you're understanding the things that you're saying, though.
I think I am.
No, I gave you an example of a woman in Thailand who does not know you. You said that you love her, but then you say that if a person doesn't show you love, that you don't love them. So I said you love everybody. I mean, which one is it? Do they have to show you love in order for you to love them, or you just love people, period? Regardless of who they are, where they at.
I love people, period.
Okay. So
but I hate people that don't fuck with me. If I don't fuck with me, if y'all don't fuck with me, I don't fuck with you. That's it. I love people, period. That's the purifying thing about especially about us black folks. We love people unintentionally. If you cross the line, you gotta stay there.
Now I'm not gonna put that on black folks. I ain't gonna put that on black. We need to that idea that black people just love people, even love everybody.
You don't think I love you for real?
No, you don't know me.
I don't even know you like that.
You might care. You might care about my well-being.
No, I said love.
You might care about. You don't love me. You don't know me.
Why?
Because you don't know me. You don't know me. We don't have. In order to love something. All right.
And then I'm a warrior too.
That's a good one. But let some other people get up here, man.
All
right. Appreciate you.
Hey, where you from, big dog?
Atlanta. I told you that 3 times.
I know.
All right.
Like you would tell me that the 3rd time. I'm from Mississippi.
All right, we know that.
From the SIP, big dog.
From the SIP.
But I know what you're saying, though. For
real. That was fun. Oh, I'm trying to get this TikTok. I know before worldview, I don't know the order of everybody else. Okay, so before, wait a minute, he's gone. I don't know the order of everybody who tried to come up, so I'm just going to hit them as they come. You know, I'm going to try to keep the conversation to about 20 minutes so that everybody can get on here or less. Was it Yoshi? You there? Yoshi? Going once. Going twice. We're going to say it was a butt dial. Didn't say anything. On to the next person. Gonna go to, was it Datsima? Datsima? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, Datsima.
Okay. How you doing?
Good at you.
I'm doing all right, man.
Yeah, a lot of patience.
You know, they say patience is a virtue, you know.
Yeah, like I was saying in the comment, I have a quick question, man.
Sure.
Because I watched some of your videos on Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
and you talk about the book of Enoch. You talk about it a lot, and I start reading it. And while I'm reading it, I don't see anywhere in there it said God, Jesus. Can you give me like a short explanation of that, if it's possible?
Where the book of Enoch mentions Jesus?
I'm like halfway.
Yeah, the book of Enoch is never going to mention Jesus.
Oh God. It's more like the righteous one. And I forgot the other term they use.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand. Say that one more time.
Sorry, what did take accent? It's a the righteous one, or I forgot the other term he's using it, but it's never say God, the most high, I think. It never say God or Jesus.
No, it's never going to say God, or it's never going to say Jesus. The Watchers are supposed to be angelic beings that had came down to earth, and they were supposed to watch over man, and then they started having sex with women, you know, the whole fallen angel kind of thing. And then the El Elyon, the Most High, that is the Canaanite deity El, that had, but by the time frame Enoch was being written, El and Yahweh had been merged together. So yeah, but Jesus is not mentioned because Enoch was most likely written somewhere around the 300s to at earliest the 400s, but most likely around the 300s to 200 BCE. So it was written a couple of hundred years before Jesus ever came around.
All right. So it would be more like in the Old Testament instead of
because Enoch, Enoch is really just fan fiction because people were asking this question, like, what happened to this in Genesis? We got this dude named Enoch. He supposedly went up there with God, but that's all we know. So then, hey, let's write about him. Let's make a story up.
I'm like halfway through the book. I was like, yeah, I can let them mention any of these names. But I have another question, if that's okay.
Sure.
So when we say God, is that a title or a name?
It's more of a title or a state of being. So even, you know, some religions, their guys got names, like Vishnu got a name. But when people just refer to just God, they're just referring to the divine, the supreme deity of their religion.
No, whoever's saying it is depending on what religion they're under.
Yeah, but like Islam will say Allah, which just means submission to God, something like that. But it doesn't. Their God really doesn't have a name. They just use a certain term. Even El is not a name. El was a name when it was a Canaanite deity. But when people just say God now, they just mean their whoever their supreme deity that they worship.
Can I ask another question? Is that okay?
Go ahead.
Okay. Like me, I'm Asian. I read the Bible in Creole, but I know where it says God of Israel, I think God of Abraham, and another ways mentioned it.
Mm-hmm.
So is it like, can we say that in the Bible there's more than one God?
Oh, most certainly. So the people in ancient times, in those time frames, were what's called henotheistic. And what that means is that you worship your God, but you accept that other people's gods exist as well. So when they say the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, they're talking about the God that those guys worship out of the Canaanite pantheon. But the other gods of the Canaanite pantheon and the Moabites and everybody else, those gods still exist as well. But we only worship this God. So they were polytheistic in their thought, but henotheistic in their belief.
Yeah, but let me someone else have a chance, because I still have a bunch of questions, but let me have someone else have a chance.
All right. I appreciate
you. Thank you for having me.
No problem. My pleasure. I think he's next. Black man. Black man is God. I think I read that right.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, what do you think about the Black Hebrew Israelites?
Honestly, I think that initially it was a movement to try to uplift black men and black people after, post-slavery, especially in the United States. But as with many things like that, it evolves into its own religion based on what was popular at the time frame, which the Abrahamic religions were popular at that time frame, and they found little cutouts within the story that they could connect to the suffering that people who were going through in the mid to late 1800s and then to the 1900s. But now, in today's world, it's become more of a, it's become more of an aggressive religion of black on black crime. That's what I think about it now. But it's all still based on mythologies and trying to force yourself into the narrative.
So do you think the Israelites were black?
Well, the way that we view race today, yeah, they were at least brown, so they will be categorized as black or Arab. Well, Arab is not really a race. That's more of an ethnic group. But they will be categorized in America, they'd be categorized as black. Put it that way.
So you think they had like woolly hair, or do they look more like a Middle Easterner?
Depends upon the time frame, but most time frames, well, since the inception of Israelites, it's going to be a combination, so kind of curly hair probably.
I get what you're saying, kind of like a mixed mongrel group of people.
Well, I wouldn't use the term mongrel because that has negative connotations, but yeah.
I get what you're saying.
Definitely a mixed race group of people, because when you look at the history of the Levant, the Canaanite people had been ruled by the people out of Mesopotamia, the Sumerians and Akkadians. Then they was ruled by the Hittites. Then they was ruled by the Egyptians. And the Egyptians were already a mixture of northern Egypt and southern Cushite people. And so they were ruled by them. And then it's not until 1204 that we ever hear any mentioning in history of an Israelite in the Meneptah Stela. And then, of course, about 2 centuries later, the Bronze Age collapse happened, and you got the sea people coming out of the Black Sea, and you just got a big mixture of people that's constantly happening in this region. So it will be difficult to maintain one look. You know what I mean?
That makes sense. So do you believe in a God, period, or how do you?
Nah.
How do you understand how human beings began?
Now, right now,
something you don't even think about.
In truth, I don't think about it that much. I only think about it when I'm doing this, because the question comes up. But for the most part, evolution. We all evolved from different species. Well, evolved into different species.
Wow. So what would be the origin species that we evolved from? In your estimation,
some type of hominid, and that hominid probably came from some type of sea creature, and that sea creature came from some multiple cell organism, which came from a single cell organism, which came from a time frame when the earth became cool enough and the proper oxygen and nitrogen mix that afforded for life to start on this planet, life as we know it to start.
So basically, you believe that we just basically organisms, we don't have a higher power above us. So basically, we just living out existence in a body until we are deceased, and then that's just it.
Pretty much, yep.
Damn.
Because we have no idea.
As well, just not even worry about anything or stress or anything, right? I mean, when you look at it.
Well, I don't stress about anything anyway. That's just who I am. But like I was telling the gentleman before, not the last one, but the one before that, because we are higher thinking beings as far as everything that's on the planet, we are considered the most highest thinking beings. We determine what our purpose is. So you can choose if you're going to be a person who functions in society or choose to be a person who functions outside of society. You have a choice.
So higher thought is probably not even necessary then.
No, I wouldn't say that. Well, it's not. What do you mean by not necessary? Let me clarify.
I'm saying like if we just began, like you said, from organisms and we evolve to this state, and then you said you believe that after we are deceased, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Then that means basically everything that we are doing is pretty much pointless.
No, I wouldn't say it's pointless.
If there's no reward in the life,
there is reward in the life.
You said there's no reward?
No, you said there's no reward. I say there is reward.
Okay, what is the reward?
Okay, and this is kind of like purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I have lived my life in such a way that when my daughter Sydney needed to make a change in her life, I was in a position here in San Antonio where she could leave Atlanta, come to San Antonio, and I can give her that opportunity to make that change without the type of struggle that I had when I needed to change my situation. So I am feeling overwhelmingly satisfied and rewarded for the last going on 4 weeks because one of my kids didn't have to go through what I went through, like when I left Tampa and moved back to Atlanta. They had an easier road. She got support, and things have worked out. And things have already, it's so funny. The day I told her that one day is this, and the next day everything changes. The very next day, everything changed for her here in San Antonio. But that could have not happened if I wasn't here. If I hadn't built a life that was able to sustain another person. And that's just not me. In the last 5 years, it's been me and my wife. But we built a life where any of our kids can make a change in life without having to struggle. That is incredibly rewarding.
If we live a life and we have memories, and at the end we just decease, and then we are no more, where is all of this memory stored? Like, think of all of the events that have happened in the world. Where does it go? It just vanishes. Like, like you got a computer and you got memory that you can store on a file.
Yeah.
If all of us just living this life and then we deceased, so all of that memory, it just vanishes. It's not stored anywhere. There's no judgment day. There's no nothing. It's just like then a smoke of vanishing smoke. It just disappears. It's just nothing.
Okay.
Is that what it is?
As far as I'm concerned, that's what it is, because and it's not a big deal. So what? It's gone. But this is why we create history books. This is why we created. This is why writing was created. This is why paintings were created. This is in our modern day world. This is why programs like SharePoint are created, so that you can retain knowledge for people once they leave a company. But we create, because we want to remember things, we do that. But 99% of the things that's ever happened, and I'm gonna say 99.9999% of everything that's ever happened on this planet, nobody knows.
All right, so I'm gonna leave you with this then. So basically, from everything that I've heard, our afterlife, I have to surmise it to this. Our afterlife is basically like, let's take a graffiti artist, and if I paint a mural, that's my afterlife. My afterlife is my painting, and somebody will see my signature at the bottom of the painting.
Yep.
And my purpose, well, I'm not gonna say purpose, but my afterlife is summed up to what I leave behind, so someone else can remember that I existed. But I won't remember or have any clue that somebody even remembered that I existed. So what would be the point about it? Is no gain for me.
The gain
is just for somebody else. So it's like that would mean basically everything that I'm doing is for somebody else's mind to remember that I existed, but I won't even know that they remembered I existed, because I won't even exist anymore. So it all points to pointlessness.
It all points to pointlessness because you have this feeling that things have to be remembered, instead of recognizing that somebody came by, saw your graffiti on the wall, and it inspired that person to do something in their lives, or it made somebody smile, made somebody happy. If we all just did things for the moment that we have on this planet, that you have consciousness, then we would be pushed to do more and be more right now, instead of waiting for some pie in the sky heaven that is not guaranteed. Nobody knows if it's real. No one's come back and said, hey, let me show you. There's no proof of it. So it's not pointless because of the effects that it has on people right now. Because I was telling another guy, I'm from Atlanta, right? There's a tunnel, and that tunnel gets graffiti painted all the time. It's a tourist attraction. People go there to take pictures. People get married in that damn tunnel. They do all kinds. It brings so much joy to people. And every year, or every so often, because it happens more than just once a year, they'll paint over, they'll white shell everything, and then new artists can go in and paint their stuff. So it's a continuous display of creativity for right now. So it has purpose. The only way it doesn't have a purpose is if you choose for it not to.
So basically you're saying everything has a creator. You don't think we
Nope.
have a creator?
I did not say everything has a creator, because everything does not have a creator. That's not what I said.
You don't believe we have a creator? We designed, right?
No. We're not designed. We are billions of small mutations happening over billions of years based on the environment that we're in. The closest creator I have is my parents.
How come we organize order if we just come from spontaneity? How come we have organized ways of living if we just emerge from something that didn't think it out?
Because
why are we thinking out things?
Because as we continue to develop over tens of thousands of years, we develop into a consciousness of agriculture, hunter-gatherer, agricultural, into where we are today. But even before that, wolves developed all their tendencies of how they run the wolf pack. Fish the schools of fish. They all develop into these systems based on the environments that they're in. And who knows what that's going to look like 100,000 years from now. We may not even be here 100,000 years from now.
How come nature would evolve itself to procreate? Like, for instance, we have sperm cells. A female has an egg. Why would it evolve itself to not die, but to continue life? You don't see that as a creator type of design?
Mm-mm. Because there's no consciousness to the aspect of nature. So the planet.
So why does it replicate itself, constantly replicating?
It's just a natural process of things transmuting from one energy form to another energy form. Right? That's just how the Earth stays. That's just how the Earth has developed over billions of years. Mars didn't do it. Jupiter didn't do it. Venus didn't. None of these other planets did it because they weren't in the right conditions to do so. The Earth just happens to be in the right condition to do that. So it wasn't a conscious thought to do it. Earth would just happens to be in the right position. And right now, I think there's like 400 other Earth-like planets in a habitable zone of their stars. Those planets may have developed the same way or similar ways. But then those stars also have planets that are far away from them. And so they got gas giants like Jupiter and Saturn, which are gas giants. But the situation of Jupiter and Saturn is not conducive to what we understand as life.
So how do you explain the emotional aspect of things that exist? Because talking about gaseous planets, that's talking about physicality. How do you explain inner thought and dreams and emotions and the ability to be able to detect different vibes that you get from people? How do you explain that? How does evolution explain like spirituality, things that you feel, you know, inclinations about things? How do you explain that?
Well, that's just the development of the mind and the rest of the body. I mean, there are different animals on different levels that have similar situations where they have, like, gorillas have emotions, but they have a higher sense of instinct as well. We have instincts. We ignore a lot of our natural instincts and our natural connections to the earth. We ignore them because we overthink them. But as every creature on the planet has developed, even with atoms, protons, neutrons, electrons, we can see that they are attracted to certain things and repelled by other things. So there is a level of consciousness in all things, but that level doesn't develop into reason. Only higher complex creatures develop some sense of reasoning and even memory is something that's developed through tens of thousands of minor mutations that have occurred over hundreds of thousands, if not billions of years. So all that stuff we create.
How do you explain people? Because I've seen what one would say is a spirit before with my own eyes. It wasn't a human. I've seen it before. How do you explain spirits and people when they say they've seen ghosts and their loved ones who passed on, and they may visit them or they'll see them? How do you explain that, like ghosts and things like that?
Well, our minds are so complex and we have so many different chemicals that happen within our brain that you can have a hallucination and think that you're seeing something because we have a dream state and a reality state, and our brain generally can't tell the difference. When you're asleep, what's happening in your dream, your body thinks that that's real, right? You remember when you was 12, 13, 14 years old, you had that wet dream because your body thought it was real. And so when people say they see things, everything can't be explained, but most of it is going to just be some type of emotional attachment to some chemical reaction that's happening in your brain. You know, just like when you think you see something move out the corner of your eye, you swear up and down, there was something there, but it wasn't nothing there.
Okay, so if there's no afterlife, existence just is, and existence is just spontaneous, then what are your views on the legalization of certain I don't know if you can say this word, DRU, GS.
Oh, on my page, I say whatever I want to say. Nah.
What's your view on that? Should people be allowed to use all type of experimental drugs? Because basically, this is just nature's spontaneous experiment anyway. So,
well, I
what
mean,
do you think about
that's really
like
that's societal. That's
drugs and DMT and all of that. Shouldn't that be allowed? Since it's just the mind and
it depends on what
afterlife. What do you think about that?
It depends on what society you live in. You go to Jamaica, you can do ayahuasca. Because it's legal there. In America, marijuana only became legal because the cotton industry felt threatened by the marijuana industry because it could be made into products that's better than cotton. So we have different reasons why different drugs are illegal and legal, but in different countries are going to have different rules for it. Go to Amsterdam, you can do damn near anything you want. Go to Portland, everything's legal in Portland, like all the drugs, like even the ones that are chemically based. But that's just whatever we decide is good and bad.
Right. So I was about to go there. So if we decide what is good and bad and no one is God, then basically one can only conclude that morality and something being against the law or lawful, it only boils down to a group of people determining what is right or wrong. And not only that, that group of people must have the means to implement their will upon other people by implementing violence, because really there is no strict God that's telling you not to do this or not to do that, but it can only be enforced by violence. So do you think violence is something that is just for one group of people to enforce their way of life on another group of people by implementing violence, since there's no God and since no one can determine what is right or what is wrong? So it'll just boil down to like whoever has the most violence, basically like the animal kingdom. If I'm the strongest predator, then whatever I say, it goes. So basically that's what it boils down to, right?
In a sense, that's a very simple way of putting it, but yeah, it basically boils down to that, because that's how civilization has been created. And yes, all morals are subjective. There is no such thing as absolute morality there's no such thing as or objective morality. It is all based on whatever a group comes together and say, this is the moral right things and these are the morally wrong things. And we can see over the history of any country, any civilization, how those things change. Slavery was morally good based on the majority of the world at one point, and now the majority of the world thinks slavery is bad. And unfortunately, most of those things happen, most of the moral changes that happen because of violence. But I'm not going to go as far as say that violence is good because it creates moral changes, because some of the moral changes that violence has caused, that initiated by violence, have not been good. It's never good for the person that's being forced. So in a perfect world, moralities would change because the people decided that is wrong and it changes peacefully. But unfortunately, most of the world is not going to do that. Most situations, that's not going to happen. So I don't approve the violence. I just understand that's the mechanism.
So if you don't approve it, if there is no God, then is your life any more valuable than the life of an ant or any other type of insect?
Nope.
It's not?
Nope. All life, to me, and this is just for me, all life has the same value. And so let me be clear on it. All life has the same value, yet all life, I'm gonna sound like the Lion King here. All life revolves around in a circle of life. Like, in order for life to exist, there's a balance between life and death. Some things have to die so that other things can live. And then when things that eat the things that die, that eat the things, then when they die, they become the ground. that the thing that you ate is now utilizing to recreate. It's just a constant cycle of just transmutation of energy over and over again.
So if all life is of equal value, if I stomp on an ant, should I get 20 years to life?
That's not what I mean by that.
But what would be the difference if it's the same value as if I killed a fellow human being?
Because we have,
what would be the difference?
Because we choose that is not where our morals lie. Now, if you practice Jainism, then that would be a truth to how your life is.
So that goes back to the choice being implemented by force. You said because we choose to make human being life greater than an ant life.
Yeah, it's a choice.
So that it's a choice. So what if I don't want to agree to that choice? Would it be okay for me to go out and murk people as long as no one finds out? Since it would be no different than stomping on an ant.
It would not be okay because the larger society has said it's not okay.
But I don't care about the larger society. They don't know. They won't know.
So for you, then you would see it as okay. Like serial killers think that they're right. Adolf Hitler thought that he was right.
According to what you're saying, because
no, they're not right. Because my moral stance is that you don't have the authority to take away someone's life.
But who do they need to get the authority from? If you can't enforce your belief on me because you won't even know I did it, then I can come back the next day and shake your hand and you wouldn't even know. No, I can. I'm the one that killed your brother. I can enforce mine. I didn't say I agree that. I said I don't think it should be done through violence. That it would be better if we can all do it based on peace. But we do come together. The only way we can have society is if we agree on certain moral stances. And the fact that we come to agreement on certain moral stances, we get society. When you don't have that, then yes, you have anarchy where every individual person, whatever they think is good for them, but the next person is not going to think what they did is good because all morals are subjective. So that doesn't mean that I should be okay with someone going and taking someone's life because my morality says that you don't have the right to take someone's life. But my morality says it's okay. So, well, yours is in the minority, so you lose. You go to jail. Okay, but does the minority mean that you're doing something wrong? In the subjective morality, yes. Okay, but in the subjective morality, there is no God. Bro, we're going in a circle. So it's just a human being. We're going in a circle. I know. You're trying to get me to a point where you're trying to get me to a point where judge. Exactly. There is no final judge. There is no God. We all just make these. No, but your point is still invalid because, okay, what God is it then? Which God? You're saying there is no measuring stick to anything. And that's what I wanted you to say. No, I'm not saying that there's no measuring stick. What I'm saying, the measuring stick is whatever society as a larger group has decided. That's the measuring stick. You're basically saying man is the final authority. Man is the final authority. As we are. Your God. No, man is not my God because I can choose to live wherever in a group that is more akin to what I think. Right. So you still going with the majority, what the majority has decided. That's why you said I would be wrong because my reasoning would be in the minority. So your God is based upon the majority thinking of what is morality. What is morally right. No, my thinking is not what the majority says, sir. No, my thinking is if there's a group of people who think the way I think, then I want to be around them. I am still the one who's deciding what is morally right and wrong for me. And I choose to go find a bunch of people who agree with me so that I can live in peace. It is not that I am making those people my God. My own thinking is my God, if we were to use those terms. And I find other people who think the same way. I am still the driver here. They're not driving me.
Now, if you want to be in, if you think that murdering people is right, you go find a group of people who all want to murder each other, and then you're in that majority, and you get to live with them, and y'all get to kill each other, and you go live there. But at the end of the day,
thank you for your time. I think you showed me and you revealed your hand, and my point, I now understand that. I
didn't reveal a hand.
That's the only final resting place. It's going to lead back to, like you said, it's going into a circle.
So everything I just said, you just completely ignored, and you just still stuck with saying that man is my God.
No, I didn't ignore it. What I'm saying, technically, since you do not believe in a supreme deity that decides right or wrong, then technically right and wrong from your worldview perspective is a societal thing based upon if the majority.
You didn't hear what I said. I said me.
And then
me.
Yeah, you. That's what I'm saying. You. I'm talking about you.
Not the majority. Me. I decide.
You have decided. Right. You have decided to live a certain type of way. And you believe that certain ways of life should be practiced based upon the majority.
Oh my gosh, bro. I was trying to be nice about this, but goddamn, do you have comprehension issues? You have comprehension issues. Let me give you a simple example, and maybe you won't have this comprehension issue. No, you do. You do.
Understand what you're saying.
So no, you don't, because you keep throwing it back to the majority. When a Jewish person in the 1930s and 40s decided that, you know what, Germany has changed. I'm going to get the hell out of here, and I'm leaving because I want to go somewhere where I'm not going to be prosecuted the way that Germany is prosecuting them. Are they going with the majority? Because if they were going with the majority, they would stay in Germany. But they decided that, no, I'm going to take my morals, my judgment, my life is mine. So I'm leaving, and I'm going to go over here to America or to England or somewhere else where the majority is not thinking to kill me, that it's okay to kill my people because of my religious belief. Is that person in the majority? Are they following? Is their God the majority, or is their God themselves? And then they leave to go where they are not persecuted to be around people who don't think that way. Who's in charge in that situation?
I'll answer it like this. They care about what people think about them and what people think about how they should live. So personally, they make a decision not to live amongst the people who think about them a certain type of way. And thus, they decided to leave those people who thought about them a certain type of way. So even within that, it boils down to a human being, even if they say they don't believe in God and what God thinks about them, you still would care about what other people think about you. So even yourself, you care about what other people think about you, right?
I don't give two shits about what other people think about me, but I care about myself, and I'm not going to leave myself in a situation around a bunch of people whose thought process is to harm me, because I love me more than that.
Because you think about them,
you're taking about caring about what people think about you into no, you're thinking, you know what? I see that you got comprehension issues, my guy.
I don't. I just proved the point.
He didn't prove shit. He didn't. Oh my gosh. How can you take the idea of caring about what someone else thinks about you, which is a sign of insecurity, and then rope that into you? They're your God. I gotta have a God so damn bad that I will make the most absurd connections that I can possibly come up with. That dude is a slave to this God, complete slave, and he think he won something. He think he won the big bear at the damn fair. Benson, Benson, you there?
What's up? Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear, sir.
All right. I just have a question for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm from Haiti. I'm from a different culture, right?
Damn, the other guy was from Haiti too.
Yeah, because I like watching you a lot. So you don't believe there is a supreme being at all?
No.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna tell you from my experience, like from things that I've seen, because you know Haiti's totally different. That's why I like watching your show, because things that I've lived in Haiti, things that I've seen with my own eyes, it's like, do I have a brain issue, or is what I'm seeing is like it's just an illusion? Like for instance, one time, right? I think I was around probably 15 at that time. I was going to sleep, right? And I saw a man standing in front of me.
Uh-huh.
And then all of a sudden it just disappeared, right?
Right.
So what is that then? How can I explain that?
So you thought you saw a man standing in front of you?
No, I mean, like physically I saw him with my own eyes.
All right.
And all of a sudden it just disappeared.
I mean, I understand what you're saying. Like, I wasn't there, so I don't know all the cause and effects around that situation. So that's kind of hard. But the closest thing that I can say to that is I was walking down the street one time and I saw, and I don't know where this woman came from. And she just appeared out of nowhere. Right. Now, to me, she just appeared.
Right.
But my dumb ass went up there and I was like, man, where'd you come from? And she was saying that she had been walking down the street. What I didn't consider was the way, from the angle that I was walking, as she was walking down the street, there was never, every time she was walking, there was always something blocking her. So I never saw her. And every time that space cleared up, it was empty. So by the time I was able to see her, she was just there. It seemed like she just appeared. So it was kind of an optical illusion that happens. And that could have been, I mean, that could have been it. Now, if there was nothing blocking you and the man just there and he just, you know, Star Trek, was there a Star Trek beam me up? Did you just see him disappear? Like, how did the disappearance happen?
I mean, I mean, like, the way I see life is like, it's a lot of things. We as human, right? It's a lot of things that we don't know of. And then by us not knowing it, we just think like, you know, okay, I'm not saying like God, that's just a title. But I truly believe there is a supreme being. You know why?
Right.
My mom, right? She passed away in 2012, right?
Sorry to hear that.
You know, I'm a truck driver.
Uh-huh.
And I had an accident about last month. So what I did, right? I summoned my mom's spirit. And then I went back home to Eddie, and then I'm speaking to her like me, like I'm talking to you right now. So how is that possible? Because earlier you were saying that once you did, that's it.
It's possible in
how can you explain that?
Your mind, your emotions, and your mind creates a situation where you have that conversation. I had a similar experience with my grandfather when he died, and so the day after he died, he came into the room, sat on my bed, and he started talking to me and telling me some things that, you know, about the family. Now,
okay, hold on, time out. Was you asleep, or I mean, like,
well, see, here's
basically like you would just sit next to me.
See, here's the thing. He was just like sitting next to me. The next thing I know, I hear my grandmother getting up and walking down the hallway. So there was no moment that I could pinpoint sleep and awake. Right? It's just all happened.
Okay.
Now, from that, I was 15 when that happened. From all that time frame, I was Christian. I was 15, and I thought my grandfather had came to me. But as I've grown and as I've focused on developing my consciousness as far as dreams and just consciousness in general, I realized that I can be asleep having a dream and then wake up without the middle ground where it would seem that the dream was real. And you know how sometimes people wake up and they're mad at somebody? because they dreamed something happened, but it never happened. So because bridging that gap of recognizing that that's a possibility, that you could dream and wake up and not even know that you was dreaming, but life just continues from that dream because it wasn't something crazy going on, you know, like you weren't walking around with a banana hat on and a Speedo. Wasn't nothing crazy like that. It was a normal kind of life, right? So it could have been a dream. My grandfather's part could have been a dream, and then from the dream, it continued on to my grandmother just being up and I was awake. And most likely that's what it was, just a dream. And the reason why my grandfather told me things in that dream that some people would say is prophecy is because I had a very close connection with my grandfather, even though he was mean as hell sometimes. But he had been drilling in me for as long as I can remember, life lessons about the family. He had been telling me how this family is connected through him and my grandmother, that without them, the family will split up and separate because they were the focal point. He had been telling me, and he'd been telling my brother is not the guy who's going to, at that time frame, he was saying, my brother's not the one who's going to keep this family together, even though he's converted into that now. But he was like, my uncles, they not going to do it. And so he was putting all that on me when I was 12, 13, 14 years old. So it makes sense that my grandfather would have told me that it's going to be my responsibility to keep this family together.
Okay. But mine was like totally different because I mean, like last month, like I actually went to a voodoo priest. Like the guy, like the voodoo priest I went to, he didn't even know me. And he was telling me everything about my life. And then everything was accurate. I mean, like, how is that possible?
How is that possible?
I'm just saying, I'm asking you, how is that possible? So if there's not a supreme being, like,
let me ask you a question. Did you just walk up to him and he just started telling you everything about your life?
Yeah, right in front of me, yeah.
He didn't ask you no questions.
No question at all.
He didn't know nothing about you.
Nothing about me. That's the first time I met him. How is, because I just want to know, how is that possible?
I mean, I am a very perceptive person.
Okay.
And I can look at people and have a general idea about them. Now, there are other people who are supremely perceptive. And they can look at your clothes, the way you walk, the way you move, and they can tell you a whole bunch of things about yourself. And then as you confirm those things, they learn even more about you, right? There's literally in the United States military, certain departments and in other services within the United States government, there are people who get trained to do that. And if this man been practicing as a priest for an extended amount of time, he's seen a lot of different people. You could have clued him in on things that you didn't even realize you was cluing him in on, right?
But
so
mine was totally different, man.
But
it was me, my dad. Yeah, because I'm speaking from what I've seen, like from what I've witnessed, you know. I cannot speak for what other people see or do, you know what I mean? So I was like, man, I was in front of the guy, man, like he's telling me everything's accurate. Everything about my life, even about my kids here in Miami.
I can't.
He's telling me everything about the name and everything.
He was telling you your kid's name.
And I never met him. Yeah.
And you never met him.
About my child, everything, yeah.
Man, that dude knew some. That man knew some other people that knew you and got your information.
Trust me, man.
I mean, I don't look. The thing about it is, there are so many variables about that situation that I don't know and can't know. But it doesn't mean I'm going to put it to a God. You know what I mean? Like,
but I'm not saying a God. Say, like,
you stopped in the middle of it.
Yeah. I just received a call. I hung up. So it has to be something out there that's bigger than us.
Well, I ain't gonna say that's something bigger than us. Now, my hope. Let me explain this correctly. I don't believe that there is life after this. I don't believe that there's other parallel dimensions or different dimensions that we exist on, that our ancestors went to at a higher state of being. I don't believe that. Do I hope that there is another level of consciousness after this one? I hope that there is. I hope that this ain't it. And if that hope is real, are there people who may be able to connect with that? I don't believe it. I don't know it. I hope. I can have hope that there are people who can connect with it, and maybe they do. And it's beyond my knowledge and understanding. But until I have something more concrete than somebody coming up to me and telling me all about my life, I'm not going to go. My first instinct is not to go some spiritual realm. My first instinct is, who has this person been talking to, or what research that they have done? Because if I did, just by looking at your name, your name on here, I can probably find out a hell of a lot of information about you and then present it to you as if I'm some type of psychic. Right? Like,
I mean, like, now when you're giving me like specific details, about my background, like things that I've done when I was a child, stuff.
Yes, you can. Are you on TikTok, right? Have you ever seen the girl who people be challenging her to find out their birthday?
No, I haven't seen it.
Okay, have you seen the guy who challenges people to figure out where they're located?
No.
Damn. Okay, the girl who, now the one that's the best, I mean, the guy who finds out where you're located, like you shoot a little video with and try to keep it as bland as possible. That joker used so many little clues to figure out where you are, and he figures that shit out. But the girl who does your birthday is even better. And there's another guy who does something similar. She will just look at your name right there, and she will start digging. And you may not have anything about your birthday, but other people might have said something. She'll figure out all your friends, who you're connected to your job, and she'll figure all this shit out about your life. And then, I mean, your kids, everything. And then she'll come back and tell you what your birthday is. And all she started with is your TikTok name and that picture. And she'll figure out so many details about your life.
If it's not live, it's like, it's basically more like, she'll do investigation on me. She'll find other things about me, But like, to be like seeing me for once, and then all of a sudden, she's telling me about my past, that would have been different.
You said this happened in Haiti?
Right.
And your mom lived in Haiti?
No, my mom lived here in America, but she passed away in 2012.
But your family's from Haiti, right?
Yeah, my dad and my mom, yeah.
All right. And how long ago did they leave Haiti?
Like, my dad left Haiti like 1980.
Are there still family members in Haiti?
I still do, yeah.
Okay. I can guarantee you that if I went to Haiti and if I find your family members, over enough time, I can figure out everything about you that's been happening in America with your parents and what kids you got and all of that.
Of course you can. But what I was saying
who's to say this guy never did? That when he saw you, he was like, man, that's Remy and Mary's child right there. He wanted them. He from the Johnson family. And no, you.
Mine was different. Hold on. Mine was different. He summoned like the spirit of my mom. I was speaking to her. I was listening to her voice. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, how is that possible?
I don't know.
And you see, and look, and honestly, and I put everything on my child. I have 4 kids. I put everything on them. That's what I witnessed. It's not like I'm just saying it,
I don't know, but I can tell you this: if I tap into your emotions of your mom, I can probably get you to hear a whole bunch of shit. Especially if I take the time to learn how to be what do you call him? What was he? A priest?
The voodoo priest? Yeah.
If I took the time, I laugh because I used to roommate with Ifa priestess. But
okay,
if I took the time, and I've watched her do her thing, and I watched the guy in charge of they Elay do their thing too. But I watch them get people into states where they become emotionally connected to their ancestors. And I've watched those people swear up and down they heard the voice of their ancestors. But that voice, you know your mother's voice. That's a voice you've heard plenty of times throughout your entire life. I can recreate my grandmother's voice in my head right now. Like as I am thinking right now, I can hear Isabel's voice. I can hear my grandfather's voice.
It's not about listening to the voice. We actually having a conversation like me and you, like we having right now. She's telling me about my daughter, about my kids, and I'm telling her, you know, they doing okay. And then she's telling me, okay, this is what you're going through, this and that.
Was it audible? Was it audible?
No, like I was just sitting in front of the voodoo person and I'm talking to my mom, like I'm hearing the voice, and then she's speaking back to me and I'm speaking back to her.
Okay, was it audible? Like could the priest hear it?
Yeah, the voodoo priest was sitting next to me, right next to me.
And he could hear your mother's voice.
Right.
Tell you what, when the next time you going to Haiti?
Okay, as a matter of fact, if you want to do that, I could pay the ticket for you, and then you be right there with me. That's the truth.
Because here's the thing. Because you go record it.
Oh, actually, I have the record. I can send it to you.
You and your mother's voice is on that recording.
Right. Yes.
Send it.
Okay.
Send it.
I can send it to you. How?
My email. Okay, I can send you my email address.
Okay, send me my email. Send me your email. I'll send everything to you.
Matter of fact, can you write right now?
Yeah.
All right. So write down the email address is mastering, MASTER. You said you. No, I thought you was ready.
No. Give me a second.
I thought you was ready, man.
I'm stopping right now. I'm ready.
Oh, dude.
All right. Go ahead.
MASTERING YOU 10.
Okay, hold on. MA.
It's masteringu10@gmail.com. So MASTERING YOU 10
All right. I will send it to you, and then you will listen to the whole conversation.
Is it a video or is it a audio?
Actually, it's audio. Audio, yeah.
It's audio. Okay, so how will I know that there's not another woman in the room?
See, that's why I'm asking. I'm telling you, like, if you want to go, we can go together, and like you see, like you be like, you do everything in front of you.
Man, I don't know you. I ain't getting on a plane with you. I don't know you. You're trying to get me down there and trying to kill me or something.
No, I wouldn't do that. No.
How do I know?
Look, see, it's one thing about life, man. That's why I always like. Before, I used to be like, man, I don't believe in this. I don't believe in that. Now I'm like 41 now. Things that I've seen and I've witnessed, I can't really say it no more.
Can you email it to me right now?
Yeah, hold on. Yeah.
Because if I can, I'll show he'll play it. But it's kind of, but see, there's no video.
See, that's the thing, yeah.
And I don't want to ask for your mother's death certificate. But that still wouldn't matter. That still wouldn't matter because.
Well, I would never threaten that, you know, my mom asked, you know.
But I would never. I mean, that still wouldn't matter because it wouldn't prove that there's not a woman in the room.
See, the best way to prove it, like you have to witness it with your own eyes, with your own ears. I mean, that's the best way. I'll send you the audio, and you're gonna be like, man, I'm not buying it.
There's a part of me that's not gonna buy it. Because
exactly, but I give you another choice. You could go and you know, and then you just be right there, and then you see everything happening. Then probably you would have a different perspective in life. You know, like, man, how is that possible?
I probably won't have a different perspective in life because I already. Okay, so this is why, like the other guy I was talking to, He was telling me he loved everybody, and I was saying, you don't know me. What a lot of people don't know is every day I try to move things with my mind. I try to like lift shit. When I meditate, I try to like get out of my body. Like I do think that the mind is incredibly powerful.
Quick question. So you don't believe in astral projection? Out of body experience. You don't believe in that?
No, I didn't say that. I think that our conscious, our mind, I do think that there is some level of our mind that our consciousness, and we don't fully understand where the consciousness is and what its makeup is. But I do think that our mind is so powerful that we can astral project. Let me just put it plainly. I think that there's a possibility. I think it's a possibility. And if you were to, when on some of my mushroom trips, and I'm not saying that anybody should do mushrooms. Matter of fact, y'all don't do no damn mushrooms. I got to put my disclaimer out there. Okay. Got to put my disclaimer out there. But if you were to ask me, did I astral project on some of my mushroom trips? Shit, yeah, I astral projected like a champ. Can I prove it? Hell no. Even though after one of the events, everywhere that I saw earthquake and a volcanic eruption, when I went back and I looked online to see if they had one in those places, they had them. They had earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. I can prove that those earthquakes and volcanic eruptions happen, but what I can't prove is that I astral projected there. Unless I had written it down at that time frame or recorded it or something, that there's no measurable proof. So it still comes down to my word, which don't mean shit at the end of the day when it comes to proving something.
Okay.
Because that's all experiences are.
Honestly, what I think, it's like basically, you're American, and like based on your culture, where you're from, it's a lot of things out there that you don't know. You don't know everything, So
no, of course not. I don't know everything. But now hold on with that American bullshit. Because I'm only American by birth.
Okay.
Right? But my thinking is more world-rounded. Because I study many cultures, many different religions or philosophies. And some I take from those that I like, that fits with me. I keep. Like I literally, if I didn't have children, I would go spend 3-4 years in Tibet at a monastery. If I ain't have kids. But I got them, so I can't. But anyway, I think that the mind is capable of a bunch of stuff, but that doesn't necessarily mean a God exists.
I mean, like, let's not say a God, because what I think, like, when people mention God, they actually think like it's a physical human being with long beard and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it could be bigger than that, like something that we don't know of.
That would and if there is, I don't think we have any concept or thought of the level of this thing, because none of these books or even our thought process on it would fit.
Yeah, we assuming, like, we always think like God is just a man up in the sky, dictate what we do in life. It's not like that. I don't see it that way. But I know there's a supreme being, like, a force.
Well, see,
whatever it is, but I don't know.
There's the thing. You said I don't know that there is one, so I cannot support the idea that there is one.
I mean, like, me, I know, but I just can't describe it. I don't have no proof of it, but I know there is.
Like,
it has to be.
The Gnostics had the idea of the pleroma, which is just an energetic force that created all things in the universe. It's neither good nor bad. It doesn't fuck around with our lives and create floods and storms and all that. It's just created simply because it created. In the Hermetics, they have a similar idea of what's called the all. If some type of conscious being that is we would consider a God exists, that is the upper limits that I can conceive of it, and this consciousness energy that just creates because it created, but ain't messing around with stuff, ain't telling you to do this ritual, do that ritual, and doesn't require worship. Doesn't require any worship at all. Because if it did require worship, then it can't be the all.
It can't be, of course. That's the way I see it either. You know, I see it just like that.
But because I don't have any proof that that exists, I can't say it exists.
True. But I mean, you have to do more research, man. I think you should do some research, go to Haiti, you know, and you'll see some creepy stuff, man.
I've seen. I used to hang out with this Haitian family. I've seen some stuff from them, and like I said, the young lady who practiced Ifa that I stayed with for a while, I saw some stuff with her. I saw them go through their process, their practice. People have claims of experiences, but I can't claim that their experiences were true or real. It was only true to them. Because I experienced nothing but watching them go into their trance.
Okay.
And they said some stuff.
Okay. I have a cousin, right? He live in Haiti. He a Freemason.
Mm-hmm.
So, he do like certain ritual, and stuff like that, like every 2-3 months and stuff like that, where they summon the spirit, and then you can actually physically see the spirit, like, in front of you. So wouldn't you like to see something like that?
It'd be cool, but I don't know. I might reach out to them because the Haitian Grand Lodge is the brother lodge to my Grand Lodge.
Okay. I mean, yeah, you can look into it. You should. I think you should.
But it's still just taking somebody's look. I've been into some meditative states where I could have swore I seen stuff. I was meditating at.
I mean, like actually summon the spirit.
No, I'm
physically.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like I had a face in the carpet talking to me in one time. So, but I'm still not putting that at a God level. That's all.
No. I'm not saying that it's like God, but I mean like there is certain things out there that we cannot understand or comprehend or even explain to others.
I can agree with that one. I can agree with that.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure you heard about Mount Shasta in California.
Yeah, they're full of shit, man.
Yeah.
The Mount Shasta stuff been debunked so many damn times. There ain't no damn door. Ain't nobody have any true confirmation of the alien light beings that they said they claimed to have seen and the ships and all that. There ain't been no confirmation of.
Documentary about it. I was like, man, I would like to look into it.
You know a good person to look into on that one?
Yeah.
Look up on YouTube Y-Files, like WHY, Y-Files, and Mount Shasta. That dude has done a ton of research on Mount Shasta. That's a good one to look at.
So, let me ask you a question.
This your last one because I got other people waiting.
Last one, yeah. Have you seen that movie Doctor Strange?
Oh, I'm a Marvel geek. Yeah, I'm a Marvel nerd, so of course.
So what you think about that movie?
Which one?
Doctor Strange.
The first one, the second one.
The second one, yeah.
Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
I don't think in the multiverse in the same sense that they portray it in the movie, that there are multiple versions of myself making different decisions. In that sense, to me, the multiverse is the fact that we exist right now in our known universe, but the singularities that manifested our known universe happens throughout a larger universe, which is probably a big ass singularity in a larger universe, and it's it's infinite. So, like the dream that I had last night, there's a universe where me and this girl named Tanya continue to date from 7th grade all the way up, and the dream ended. I was still in high school, but me and Tanya dated all the way up to high school. And in that universe, Tanya didn't become a lesbian because me and her were dating. Yeah, I don't think that universe exists. Because there ain't nowhere in hell I would have kept dating Tanya and her ghetto ass. All right.
So I let somebody else jump in.
All right, appreciate you, man. That man gonna have me in a universe dating Tanya. The hell? Yeah, that was a crazy dream. Like, it wasn't crazy. Big Wheel, you're after two other people. But some of these people I know have jumped off. So let's see. You might be next, Big Wheel. Yep. Big Wheel, you're next.
What's up?
How you doing, Big
Yes,
Wheel?
sir.
Keep on turning.
Pardon?
And Sarah Cavern, you're after Big Wheel.
All right.
I'm just trying to keep everybody in order as possible, as best I can.
Yeah, that's all right. Now, where do I start regarding this this subject here? Because it's
up to you. Are you a believer?
Ex.
Okay.
Believer.
All right.
How can I put this? It's crazy because it's like so many. Let me see. About yes, the Passover, the whole Moses Passover, Pharaoh, and
okay.
Does feel like that because from what I understand, because I used to be a Hebrew apostolic branch of Hebrew Israelite, and I was walking back to my abode, my place, and it was back in 22 or 21. And there was a question that I asked, a question that came to my mind. How could a God rush his own people to eat a Passover?
How could a God?
How could a God? Can you hear my? If this my internal microphone using?
No, it just blinks a little bit. But you said, how could a God force his people to eat a Passover?
To eat quick. Command them to eat so quickly. If it's supposed to be a meal in honor of him. You get the point, right?
To eat it so quickly?
Yeah, because they have to eat it in haste. If you know what I'm saying. According to their account.
No, that's something I probably read but didn't focus on or pay attention to.
Yeah,
so you're saying that it says that they have to eat it in haste?
Yeah, they have to eat it in haste, yeah.
Why? What's the point?
Well, I'm coming to the conclusion that this God of the I've come to more the conclusion that this God of the Bible, especially 2026.
Wait. You misunderstand what I mean by what's the point. Oh. What is the point in the Bible? According to the Bible, what was the reason God gave them that they had to eat the Passover in haste?
Because they were going to leave Egypt.
Okay. So you're talking about when they were getting ready to leave Egypt.
Yeah.
They ate a Passover? I know they did the lamb's blood on the doors. I don't remember saying they had to eat.
Let me find it. Hold on. Let me go to the KJV version of this account.
Not the KJV.
All right. What was your version you used to read?
Oh, you can read whatever version. I do the RSVU E version.
I'm not going to read the King James version verbatim, because I don't do that all that is dramatic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in verse 11 of it, Exodus 12, 11, and I'm gonna rephrase it so that people can understand, because all of this ye and all that stuff is just, and it's verse 11 of Exodus 12, and this you will eat it with your loins girded and your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hand, and you will eat it in haste. It is the Lord's Passover.
Okay. So I think I'll get you. So I think they were trying to eat. They had to eat it in haste because they was getting ready to leave. So as soon as the Pharaoh said y'all can go, that they'd be ready to go and wouldn't be sitting there waiting. Wouldn't have to take a long time. Give Pharaoh time to. Well, I don't know why there would be a need for the Pharaoh to have time to change his mind since this guy was controlling Pharaoh in the first place.
That's right.
But yeah, it seems a little odd that they had to eat it in haste because this God is the one that hardened Pharaoh's heart in the first place.
That's right.
And then when Pharaoh finally let him go, if he knew that he was going to protect them, then why was there a rush? And they had to collect everybody's gold and stuff as well. Because you remember, it also tells them that he gonna change them, he gonna affect the mindset of the Egyptians to give away all their stuff to them.
Yeah, give them favor in the sight of the Egyptians.
Right. That you ask for some gold stuff, they're gonna say, yeah, here, take it, because they lost their free will.
Yeah.
Yeah. But only reason I can see is that they're trying to just create a sense of urgency in the story. Like, we're gonna create this false urgency so that the story seems better.
All I can say is that from what I've learned in my life, especially as I'm now in my mid-30s, is that God, the so-called God of the Bible, is the epitome, is the epitome of my, because I will come from a Jamaican background, but I'm born in England.
Okay. Is that why your accent killing me a little bit? I can't really place it. I was trying to place it, but I couldn't really place it. But that now it makes sense. It makes sense now.
Yeah.
No, you good.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a cocktail. It's a tyrannical. He's the version that my parents have literally created. If you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because this God is what is what is something like what is they want a God to relate to as their parents, as someone like their parents. You know what I'm saying? And I can't worship a God like that. I'm still debunking a lot, deconstructing a lot of stuff. And it's crazy.
No, that makes sense. Let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
Now I want to ask you a question. You say you used to be a part of the Hebrew Israelites?
Yeah.
What made you walk away from that?
There was one video on this cat called Bro Sanchez TV on YouTube.
That sounds familiar.
If I'm allowed, I'll post the link in there.
What does he look like?
He's got a beard, and he wears this hat. Where's the hat?
So it's not the Spanish hat.
Like one of them baseball hats.
Okay. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. There was a video that I watched. I was listening to while I was preparing dinner on a Sunday night back in January. It was God told them to enslave us, and now he's mad at them. Listening to the reasoning and explain for what he explained, opened up my eyes quite a lot. That the next day I had to have that conversation with myself about it.
That's an interesting thought process. I've never done a video about that. That the God of the Bible, he wanted to punish these Hebrew Israelites, and of course they believe in the transatlantic slave trade was that punishment. And now he instructed them to do that. But now this God is mad at them for what they did. Is that pretty much what the gist of what you were saying?
God is basically God told the so-called white man.
Yeah.
Or Esau. Some people believe Esau's a white man. That's not clear. that Edom. God told the Esau to enslave the Hebrew Israelites, but now he's mad at them, that Esau and Edom.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
Makes no sense to me. If that is the God I'm supposed to serve, then he's not making any sense. Because that's just pure efforts. You know?
Yeah, that's kind of dumb. And see, that's that whole where they excuse themselves and be like, well, God works in mysterious ways and we don't know the mindset of God and he does things which we ain't gonna come to an understanding of knowing. But that's a bunch of bullshit.
That's right.
When you read the story, you just see this ever-changing kaleidoscope of mentality by this guy who seems very schizophrenic, jealous, and narcissistic.
Yeah.
But one of the main things I recognize is that this guy changes depending upon what culture is writing about him at what time. And like the whole Hebrew Israelite storyline is basically a post-American slavery mentality of this God and what those people had experienced. So I'm gonna rewrite this God to fit my post-Civil War lifestyle. So the best way to say this is that our ancestors went through this punishment because we were disobedient. And now this God is freeing us, and we got Jim Crow, so we still got 200 and some odd years left of our 400 years of oppression. But this God is going to release us, and then we're going to get the promise of Abraham and all the other promises.
Oh my God.
And the 400 years been over. It's been over. I ain't seen no promise of Abraham happen yet.
Oh, yeah, and it's God. And also, I don't believe I think that I do think that the 400-year prophecy is false. Because it was true. Yeah.
It had nothing to do with the transatlantic slave trade.
Whether or not it was translated or not, it doesn't make sense because one, if it was a true word, I have a thing about the word prophecy. That's another thing. Mm-hmm. If the 400-year was a true word, it wouldn't have been put on the news that Ghana Ghana in 2019 was it was promoting that was the year of return. Plus, after 2019, in March of 2020, the most of the earth was under so-called house arrest, and that included included all of us, including myself, when I was in that Hebrew Israelite thing. I wasn't in it for too long. So it doesn't make sense to me that a 400-year prophecy, 1619, quote unquote, 1619 to 2019. God, Genesis 15 and 13. When I think it's 14, but that's another thing. But you have to read the script. Read it for yourself to find out. But yeah, it don't make sense to me. 400-year prophecy. 400-year prophecy. 1619 to 2019. Then 2020. The most of the earth, including those Hebrew assemblies, are on so-called lockdowns. And then to even make it worse, people from themselves or from the same Hebrew Israelite communities was taking the drug. Took the drug.
Of course they did.
Right.
But you know the other part of that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
In Ezekiel, I think it's Ezekiel where it says that no longer will the sins of the father be cast down to the sins of the son. So how can I be punished for why are my ancestors being punished for 400 years for something that somebody else did when those punishments are not supposed to be part of this guy's rules anymore? So it just doesn't fit. And then, like you said, and it's supposed to have ended in 2019. So why is it that the Khazars have control over Israel and not the black Israelites? Why
It's
they? Yeah, it's been 7 years.
Sorry, what you saying? You saying?
I was just adding. It's been 7 years since 2019 ended. So shouldn't they? The 7 years of completion. Shouldn't they have it?
This whole thing, this thing, as far as I'm aware, it's the Bible is a revised script. It's a revised version. It's a script written on top of what I personally think is a universal cycle. So they will revise it, twist it, make it sound like it belongs to them. And then you look on the screen and say, oh, the news says so forth and so forth is happening. Credit crunch, you know, so-called pandemics, diseases, and all of that. And then my mind, in my Christian mind, Hebrew Israelite mind, oh, is Bible prophecy fulfilling? No, that is a script. Prophecy and propaganda. The first four letters of the word prophecy and propaganda and prophecy. Bingo. The same shit, yo.
The same damn thing. And that's what makes it so easy, is that every generation of people keep on thinking that the Bible is about them. The European kings and whatnot thought it was about them. The Puritans thought it was about them. You know, so many American civilizations thought it was about them. In England, they thought it was about them. And it's not. It ain't got nothing to do with it. It's about these Levantian people who pretty much ceased to exist, if you really think about it. Yeah. From the conquest, from the Assyrians all the way down to you get to the Arab conquest, they pretty much stopped existing. People just adopted the religion. But the people, the bloodlines, they gone. They so diluted that they don't even matter. You know, and the other part, you can't even look at when Titus conquered in 70 CE and say that would have been the time frame of that 400 years, because 400 years later, the Christians were running the Levant. And these motherfuckers didn't, the so-called people who practice Judaism, they didn't get it back for what, 1700 years? So that 400-year prophecy doesn't fit anywhere in history. Them being God's chosen don't fit anywhere in history, because God's chosen been getting their ass handed to them since 722 BCE up until today. Prior to that, they were getting their ass handed to. They had a little time frame between around 1000 to 800 that they may have been able to exist. But prior to that, they was getting their ass handed to them by the Egyptians, the Hittites, the Sumerians, and Akkadians. These are some woeful ass people, and their God is get punked over and over again.
Yeah, it's so easy to, you know, as I reflect, study and reflect it, it gets more easier to pick it apart. But I do think that living is also as equal, for me, is more important than just picking apart decoding. Even though decoding is great, but I do like to have a laugh. But even what else was the Caesar's Messiah documentary. Even though I need to watch it fully. I've got the book, but I need to watch it because I fell asleep through it. But I do think that Titus Flavian is that so-called Messiah, the Jesus figure that they wrote in that book.
Oh yeah, I think I'm with you to a certain degree. I think Titus is a big influencer to the characterization of this Jesus character. There are other people that were thrown in there as well.
Yeah. But
I do think that since Josephus was the scribe and he had told Vespasian that he was going to become emperor, and that there's this Jewish prophecy about him becoming emperor and God, and that would make Titus the son of God. I do think that was a big push from a lot of the storyline does come from Vespasian and Titus. But there are some other elements that were thrown in there as well. Like, have you ever researched Apollonius of Tyana?
No, I need to look into a lot of things. I'm still stuck on the creation part where there was this other cat called Chief Iron Bush. He brought out some thing that I was like, wow, about when it says be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and have dominion over it. When I saved the video because I don't want to because I don't in the event where that video taken down, I want to make sure I have something that I can write in my notes. But it's so crazy how the so-called the original 10 Commandments have been skipped over. The pillaging, the essaying is in that's in the 10 Commandments, or is the quote unquote the 10 Commandments of that is the original 10 Commandments, not the 10 Commandments that were supposedly given on Mount Sinai in Egypt.
Wait a minute, you lost me a little bit.
Sorry.
Say that again.
The 10 original commandments is in Genesis 1, and not Exodus 20.
I've never heard that one before.
But I haven't finished studying yet. But I like to study and give my own commentary on it. But it's crazy. It's literally like, whoa. Now it makes sense that. It makes sense that why things are for how long things have been the way they are.
Yeah, I was just trying to figure out how to get the 10 Commandments out of Genesis 1.
128. Well, you have to use the Blue Hub Bible. The Blue Hub Bible, the Strong's. But no, the Blue Letter Bible online. The Blue Letter Bible with the Strong's concordance.
I don't trust Strong's as far as I can throw that book.
Okay.
I mean, because 26 is about them creating the humans.
No. Sorry, Genesis 1:28 is the 10 Commandment, is the actual literally 10 Commandment of the so-called the government.
Okay, you know what? I'm on a Jewish Bible.
All right.
I'm on a Jewish, yeah. It doesn't tell me exactly it just tells me the chapter. It doesn't tell me the verse. So let me make sure I'm matching this up correctly. That's an interesting point that you piqued my interest on something. God blessed them and told them and said to them, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth and subdue it and have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over every living thing that moves upon the earth. How are there 10 Commandments in that?
Because if you break down per se the sentences, like for instance, like say, be fruitful and multiply, and not only that, it's also the multiple meanings of the word, and even the word, even having the subdue it, and the subdue it and having dominion,
right?
Meaning to carve. It's like it's basically to have control, to carve out, to basically do an Alistair Crowley, do quote unquote what they want, basically. With it.
I'm gonna have to. I'll research it. It's right off the bat. It looked like some reaching to me, but like you said, sometimes the words have different meanings, but it depends on the context. That's the surrounding context clues of the other words around it that gives it its actual meaning. Because you know how like some people try to say that Jesus is in if you look at the genealogy of Seth, you can find Jesus. because they utilize the names that have meanings, and they utilize meanings that the names don't mean, or that the names could mean, to try to create the Jesus in the genealogy of Seth. You ever heard that one?
No, I haven't heard that one.
Yeah, it's a
popular
Christian thing going on right now.
Pardon?
It's a popular Christian thing that some of them are doing right now, trying to, because they want to push Jesus into the Old Testament.
Well, I came up in an Adventist, like as an Adventist Christian and a non-denominational.
God damn.
Yeah, God damn. So they do believe
Israelites,
that Jesus is God. So
you had a rough life, bro.
Yeah, it was a roller. It was some shit. It was some shit.
Yeah. Is your parents still Adventist?
As far as I know, but I'm grateful I live on my. I'm grateful I've been living on my own. So
do they talk to you?
Pardon?
Do they talk to you? You know, when you leave at this Adventism, I don't know if they do that in England, but in America, when you leave the church, they ostracize you.
Well, I don't speak to them. We've had our relationship is finished because of their gross ways towards me when I was growing up. So I had to shut it down at 30. So
gotcha. Let's see. Well, man, let me try to get this last person up here before.
It was good talking.
Yeah, I got a skedaddle here in about 20 minutes or so.
All right.
I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Salute, sir.
Big wheel.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you. Keep on turning. All right. And I'm saying that because I told this person I'd get them on. So let me see if they're still there. Sarah. Oh, well, damn. I could have kept talking to Big Wheel because Sarah ain't there no more. Sarah left me. I got time for one more guest. I got time for one more guest. Let me see something before I have to get off here. So I got time for one more. I know y'all been having a lot of conversations in the comments. Unfortunately, today I haven't been reading the comments too tough like I normally would. Usually I try to keep track of what's being said at the same time, but not today. I want to know about the Levant papers. I'm not exactly sure. I don't know what the Levant papers are, but I can find out real quick. It might, you know how I am, Miss Fifi. I don't remember everything. But it might be something I'm familiar with. The Eastern. Okay, so the Levant papers most commonly refer to the 19th century British diplomat and parliamentary documents regarding the Eastern question and the Ottoman Empire. However, you might be thinking of the modern academic publication in the Middle East. Now, I would think that you're talking about this peer review that was did by the Council of British Research in the Levant, multidisciplinary research paper regarding the history and archaeology and anthropology of environmental science in Eastern Mediterranean prehistory, the Ottoman Empire. You can, no, I don't know about this one. I haven't read this. These are old, and I haven't read about some old shit. I can't tell you a lot about them because I don't know. But the operations around the Oriental crisis of 1839 through 1841. You mentioned it in another live. No. That's not. They're not called the Levant. They're not called the Levant papers, Miss Fifi. So what Miss Fifi is referring to, but when I was getting ready for this live, there was another person's live that I was just listening to, and I made a couple of comments on there. It's the Imperial Papyri, IPUWER, Imperial Papyrus, and the Imperial Papyrus is a document that was found in Egypt, and what it does, it has these details that many Christians are trying to utilize and say that is proof of the Exodus story. But there's a few problems with that, utilizing that as proof of the Exodus story. The first problem is that it doesn't fit the timeline at all. The Imperial Papyri was written, I think, around the 1800s, but it dates back to the storyline dates back to like 2000 to 2500 BCE, and it's talking about what happened during that time frame. It talks about how the river Nile flooded and turned red, but it says that it turned red because of the sediment that normally comes into the Nile River when the Nile River floods, when they get their monsoon rains down in southern Sudan somewhere. And so it turns this red color, but it's sediment, it's not blood. And they knew that it was sediment and not blood at that time frame. Now, the other problem, it talks about Asiatic people from the Levant, and that's probably why you thought I meant to say Levant papers. It doesn't say that. It doesn't say that they in the Exodus story, the Hebrew people left. In the Imperial Papyri, it says Asiatic people moved into Egypt during that time frame, right? And so with people moving in, that goes against the story. Now you can even try to say, oh, that's talking about Joseph moving in, but that's not Joseph and his 70 members of his family moving in, because that would have had to have happened in around the 1800s, somewhere between the 17 and 1500s BCE. But this is something that happened, a few 500 to 1,000 years earlier. So we don't have, so that's an incompatible idea of it, of the Imperial Papyrus. The timing is just off. The people are off. It talks about how there was a plague that was going around, and that plague stripped off all the branches. And the trees all fell and the branches stripped. And they've taken that to think that this is when the hailstorm came down and struck all the trees. And that there was lack of grain. So it has a lot of these similar things that you find in the Exodus story. And since the Exodus story was well known, since the Imperial Papyri was a well-known story that was being talked about during the time frame that Egypt controlled the Levant, it wouldn't have been uncommon, or it's not crazy to think that those people would have heard of these things, heard of these different plagues, these different events that happened. And so the Hebrew story pretty much just copied and borrowed what we find on the Imperial Papyri. And what Christians do is they try to precede it and say that the biblical narrative was being told before the Egyptians wrote this. And like the part where it's talking about how the people were moaning and groaning because of all the dead people in Egypt. Well, it just says dead people. It doesn't specifically say that, oh, the firstborns, those were the ones who died. The Imperial Papyrus talks about just a whole bunch of dead people because they were going through some type of ecological issue at that time frame, which it's a combo. If the Nile River, even to this day, if the Nile River overflows and too much red sediment flows up the river, because it's flowing north, flows upriver down the Nile River, and too much of it, it will literally kill all. It will be like red tide. It's going to kill all the fish and the things in the water, and those, and of course, the amphibians are going to try to escape out the water, you know, and that's going to wreak havoc on crops and all other kind of things. So it's not really. And then in the Egyptian papyrus, it says that it gives the different Egyptian gods that those plagues were done by, right? So it gives, like, one of the river gods is Hapi. It talks about how this river the blood plague was done by Hapi. If it's the bugs one, it's going to be Jeb, right? So it's going to give you the different ones, because Newt is the waters above, the hell is going to be Newt, you know. So whatever the different gods represents is going to be what the plagues, what's happening with the plagues. And like I said, it's not even a firstborn, but the Egyptians put that on the fact of Isis. They say Isis did that because, you know, her firstborn had to fight his uncle, right? But it's a good read, and you can see how the Jewish people, the Hebrews, would have stolen that story or utilized that story in order to facilitate their Exodus story by saying that all these things happened because of Noah and because of Yahweh, which just shows that they were just making shit up. Because during the time frame that Exodus, if the Exodus would have happened anywhere from 1500 BCE to 1200, well, 1100 BCE, during that whole time frame, Egypt was prosperous up to 1200. Egypt was prosperous that whole time. And the Imperial Papyri talks about a cultural disaster happening to them because of the ecological issues that was going on. But that's what I was referring to on that other guy's live. So the Imperial Papyri, not the Levant papers. And that's IPUWER, papyrus, PAPYRUS. So I hope that answers your question, Miss Fifi. Oh, I've been doing all this talking and I ain't even see your request to come up. How you doing, Miss Fifi?
Okay, you answered my question.
Oh, okay.
I was just very upset earlier because there was a guy who was trying to make himself in the Deuteronomy thing where people were enslaved and shipped to another country and all that goddamn shit.
Yeah, I heard him.
I'm like, nigga, you not even. And the guy was trying to be nice to him. I was like, oh boy.
I know.
He put me off of my comments because I was like, oh my goodness. Why would you want to fit? If you had a story to tell, why would you want to fit into that part of the story? I don't know. But some people have to have an identity to the Bible.
Yeah, and that guy was coming from an oppressed mind, and it gives them comfort to say that God is on the side of their oppressed mind, because now they don't have to release themselves of that oppression, and they can play that whole victim role, and they're gonna come out victorious bullshit line. So yeah, I had to get off. I was on there for like maybe 10 minutes and I had to get off there because that guy was getting on my nerves.
I was an energy zapper, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. People don't know, but usually when I finish a live, I have to go and sit somewhere where I don't have to think for at least about a good hour, because some of these people, they just their level of ignorance or inability to have critical thought just drives me to a point where afterwards I just need to recuperate from all that mess. Like one of the gentlemen that I was talking to earlier, I'm glad that when I leave here, I'm getting on this motorcycle and I'm gonna go pick up my wife, and then we're gonna go at a cigar lounge, order some food, and watch the NBA draft because I need some nonsense.
You need some nonsense.
Yes, I need some. I ain't gotta think. And if this guy Ray is there, which he probably will be, Ray is fine because even though he follows the page, me and Ray don't talk about this stuff most of the time. We talk about life, other stuff. But if there's other guys there, this little Christian dude who think his degrees mean something, I am in that mood where last time I was being very polite. But if he there and he start that mess today, I am not going to be polite. I'm not.
Up here, I'm trying to smoke a cigar with my wife, and you out there talking this crazy stuff. Oh boy!
Exactly. Because he got mad at me because I told him his degrees don't mean shit. A degree in theology don't mean a goddamn thing other than you just repeating what some school done told you. That said that you have to agree with the Bible regardless of what you learn. So he ain't like that. I told him that.
Oh my goodness.
But the last time I saw him, he was friendly and he sat down and he shut all the hells up. He didn't say nothing.
Maybe somebody told him something.
Yeah.
Or maybe he found out. Or maybe he actually read the Bible.
I kind of know what happened because I was acting like I wasn't paying attention, but I was paying attention. And Ray was saying some stuff to him that was, and to use their terminology, was putting the fear of intellectual God in him. And I was like, Ray, why are you telling this man this stuff? Because Ray started breaking down some. He was like, let me tell you what this dude be talking about. I was like, Ray, shut up. I'm sitting over there like, Ray need to shut up. He don't need to tell this man all this stuff because he's going to have the man scared to talk to me. You know, just regular conversation because he is a person that I see up there regularly. I was like, you know, regular conversation, he's all right. He's all right guy. You know, no problems. Can sit, chit chat, laugh, joke, everything. But I think Ray intimidated him by telling him more about me, which I don't like. I don't want to be that kind of person. You know what I mean? So, you know, I had to tell Ray later on, hey man, don't be telling people that stuff. You know, because some of the stuff I told Ray in confidence because I don't talk about it here, you know. Because I tell y'all a lot of the things that I've studied and a lot of the ways I've studied, but there are certain ways that I've studied that I don't really mention too much because I don't know. I'm not embarrassed of the some of the ways I've studied. It's just that people will put too much emphasis on that. Matter of fact, shit, I not open my mouth. So let me give you an example.
Okay.
So I did the 2-year. It's not a degree, but I did the 2-year religious studies program online that's offered by Harvard. Right. But if you tell people that, all of a sudden now, you know, that's where they put the emphasis of where you gain your knowledge. Whereas most of the things that I learned were me just going out there learning it, like reading different PhD papers from different people, going to these different countries, talking to museum curators, talking to other archaeologists, talking to other biblical scholars. But people will put a lot of emphasis on that 2-year program that Harvard did. Well, they still do it. You can do it with Harvard, Yale, Cambridge, Oxford. You can still do it with all of them. I just did it with them because I just wanted to see where their information, like what scholars are they utilizing? Whose information are they utilizing? And it opened me up to some different scholars that I had never heard of, you know, and their information. But I still take all their information with, okay, I hear you, but I'm finna go research it some more myself. You know, and it's not like I said, it's not a degree program. It's not even a certification program. It's just like hey, you can study the same part that these guys study. But if you want that degree, you're gonna have to pay some money. I don't care nothing about a degree.
Well, Harvard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the thing about it is, I don't know. I said, when I deconstructed, it was hard because I had to leave everything behind. I had to leave my family gatherings, Christmas, Easter, all those memories.
Yeah.
Not the memories, but what was behind the memory. And I had to let all of that go. And so I do listen a lot to different people. And I do read a little bit, but not much. But it's mostly, around Christianity. However, I think the reason why I do it is because I'm just looking for a glimmer of hope that I know that's not there.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Give me a glimmer of hope, but it's no hope there.
No, it's not. None whatsoever. And I'm gonna get off here in about 10 minutes, but before I do, I want you to stay on too. I'm gonna do a PSA announcement.
Okay.
Because I just happened to see a comment that Boss Lady made over here on TikTok. Because she's just getting home after her mammogram appointment.
Okay.
Y'all, I'm about to be I had no intentions of ever saying this, but what you said and what she said coming together is making me say this.
Oh.
So I need all the ladies, go get your mammograms. Don't wait till you're 50, 60, 70 years old. Go get them early, get them regularly. For all the guys, go get your prostate exams. Do it regularly. I know they only have to do the whole no more. Just go get it done. Most of you guys know about my friend Karen, who had developed pancreatic cancer and she died in my house. I took care of her for the last few months. But 2 weeks ago, found out at one of my older family members. I ain't telling y'all exactly who, because ain't none of your business. But found out she got 3 lumps in her breast. 2 of them they can definitely take care of. I think today or tomorrow she should get results for the 3rd one, which that one is more aggressive, and they're either going to be able to remove it or she might have to have a mastectomy. Now, based on what you were saying, this person, they still Christian, but their mindset is more like mine. She wasn't, when I talked to her, she wasn't worried about nothing. She wasn't sitting up here, oh God, please help me, and all this kind of stuff. She was just like, if they got to do the mastectomy, they got to do it. I don't want it, but it is what it is. That was her mentality. It is what it is. And all these over this last week, she ain't worried about nothing. So I told her I ain't gonna worry. I said I don't worry about stuff anyway. But if you ain't worried about it, I'm damn sure ain't gonna worry about it. And her comment was like, "What worrying gonna do anyway? But make it worse." So I don't want to hear I don't need any, good energy, pray for yous, all that kind of stuff, because that ain't, even though I still got Christian members of my family, they don't function like that. Well, some of them don't, especially that one, don't function like that. Life is whatever life is, and they're going to roll with it. And they've had a very interesting life. So whatever comes out of it, comes out of it. But I do, because now every woman in my family, down to the 20-year-olds, are going to get mastectomies. I mean, get the not mastectomy, get the mammograms. Yeah, because you know how that works. Something happened, all of a sudden everybody becomes aware of it. But just a PSA out there, peoples. Go out there, make sure you're taking care of yourself. That's all. That's my PSA. Because Boss Lady and Miss Fifi brought it to my mind. Because see, I wasn't even worried about it. I ain't even thought about it. I ain't even know the day that she's supposed to find out the stuff. I guess I got to be a good family member and call, right?
Especially since you mentioned her today.
Yeah, she don't listen to this, so we're all right.
she's okay. But it looks like she has a good mind, and that's where it all starts.
Yeah, and she what I can tell you is that she ain't worried about no heavens and hell. She's like, it is what it is, and whatever it is. That's what it is. So she, and I told her, well, hell, you don't care, then I don't care. You don't care? I don't care. Whatever happens, we'll find out next week. She was like, exactly. And actually, she rushed me off the phone because she was like, I'm trying to watch my shows. I was like, well, all right, then. Let me get the hell off the phone so you can watch some Gunsmoke. Oh, but I do appreciate you, Miss Fifi. And the Imperial.
I appreciate you too.
Yeah, and definitely go read the Imperial Papyrus.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all I have to do. Put it in.
Imperial Papyrus. Yeah. IMPURWER, something like that. Imperial Papyrus. No, it's IP. It's not an IM. Let me look.
Imperial.
Yeah, IPUWER Imperial Papyrus. It's a good read. It's a good read. But I'm about to get off here because I got to be down on this road in about 10 minutes.
All right.
And I got to get this guy.
Glad to see you. I hope you come back on TikTok.
I should be back tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm going to try to get back into a regular schedule of Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays.
Okay.
Now that I got air conditioning in my garage, so I ain't all hot as hell.
Was that rough?
Yes. It's San Antonio, and it's been 90-something degrees for weeks. Yes, it's hot. So I ain't, y'all don't see me in here sweating. I got a little glisten going on with me now. I'm gonna turn it down a little bit lower. I thought 76 was good, but it's going to drop to 71. Yeah, but I'm gonna get out of here.
Okay.
All right, appreciate you.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Have a good evening. All right, peoples. For people who had given hearts and roses, gifts on TikTok, thank you very much. Those who joined the fan club, thank you very much. I appreciate you guys. Ain't nobody give a super chat on YouTube, so I can't thank anybody for a super chat. Or I don't think I seen your stars either, so I ain't thanking y'all for nothing. None of that. But I thank you everybody for being here and for liking and sharing, because I did see some people share the podcast. So thank you very much for that. When you do a super chat, definitely I'll read whatever the super chat says, even if it's something that's against me. I will read the super chats. And so I thank everybody who has done that in the past, and those who are subscription holders and members. Thank you very much. I don't think I saw any members on here today. But I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys tremendously. And yeah, everybody go see your doctor, especially you dudes. You dudes don't go see your doctors. Y'all are horrible at it. Because I know I am to a certain degree, but the VA kind of keep me on point and everything. And Miss Boss Lady, I'm pretty sure your mammogram gonna come back with no problems whatsoever. None whatsoever. It's gonna be great. All right. So y'all have a great day. Should be able to see y'all tomorrow. And always remember that you have to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations. And we are